16th to order. We have members participating remotely tonight. Ernie up there on the left-hand side. And as such, all motions will be taken via roll call vote. So roll call, please.
Chairman Gaffney.
Yes.
Vice Chair Sutherland.
Yes.
Member LaRue.
Yes.
Member Covino.
Uh-oh.
Can they hear us?
It's showing up green that he was speaking.
Okay.
Ernie, can you speak again?
Can they hear us?
Yeah, they should. Oh, we need to unmute. We need to unmute. Kate.
Yeah.
We need to unmute this one. There we go. That's why. Down there, right there. That's one.
Okay,
There we
Ernie?
go.
Ernie, can you hear us? There he is.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you-
So I just.
Continue the roll call, please.
So continued roll call. Member Covino.
Here.
Great. Folks, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. So the Town of Burlington will be holding the May 16, 2024 meeting as a hybrid meeting. The governor issued an executive order on March 12, 2020, authorizing remote meetings under the General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, and extended by Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, including permitting remote meetings and participation until March 30th, 2025.
As always, members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest on a specific item should make plans for in-person versus virtual accordingly. Those seeking to attend remotely may do so via the following. The URL is townofburlington.webex.com. Our meeting number is 2343-031-7913. Our meeting password is 1645, and you can join the WebEx by phone at 617-315-0704. Members of the public looking to participate, please raise your hand in the WebEx, and staff will send you a request to unmute at the appropriate time. This meeting is also being broadcast on BCAT Government Channel, which can be found on Comcast 99, RCN 15, Verizon 41, and streamed on BCAT Live via the BCAT Government Facebook page.
Thank you. So we've got, first on the item is public participation. Is there anyone in the audience who's here to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to announcements. Staff?
Yes, so the first two nights of Maytown meeting took place Monday and Wednesday of this week, and it is being continued to next Monday as well, and most likely to the following Wednesday, so that's May 20th and May 23rd. Those all will begin at 7 p.m., and those are in the high school auditorium. Items on the agenda for next week from planning is going to be MBTA communities, parking and landscape modernization, and the use table modernization. Household Hazardous Waste Day is Saturday, May 18th, and that's going to be from 8:30 to noon, and that's at Fox Hill School. Memorial Day is Monday, May 27th, and all town offices will be closed. And longtime Conservation Administrator John Keeley is retiring at the end of this month, and we want to wish him all the best.
Thank you, staff. I would personally like to thank John for his service for the town of Burlington. A technical, terrific person, and certainly was an asset to the town, and we hate to see him go, but applause to that. Any other members have any other announcements? Okay, seeing none. Legal notices of interest, I don't see any here. Non-approvals, none. Administrative matters, none. And matters of appointment. Okay, item 7A is a continued public hearing and application for approval of site plan 155 Middlesex Turnpike. 155 Middlesex Turnpike LLC is the applicant. Do you have anyone here to talk about? Oh, please.
Good evening. Mr. Chair, members of the board, for the record, Christine Hung, Raymond Bronstein, an attorney for the applicant, 155 Middlesex LLC. I apologize for my voice. I have bad allergies, so my voice is a little bit raspy tonight. But with me tonight, I have Trina Murphy, a representative from the applicant team, as well as Michael Kern, our project architect from Linear Development. At the last hearing, we opened up, we made our presentation and answered many of the board's questions. Since that time, we were before the Concom, and they voted favorably on our project and issued the order of conditions. So we're back before you tonight, ready to answer any questions that the board may have, and hopefully receive a favorable decision tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Staff, any update?
We don't have any updates on this. We're just, I think that we had a really great discussion at the last meeting. We did receive the plans that we asked for. So at this point, we don't have any concerns at this time.
Okay. I'll go with our board here. I want to start with Joe. Joe, any comments on this one?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Jess?
No, my only comment is the application was great and very easy to understand. The updates made so quickly, so thank you very much. I think this building will be beautiful, and I'm excited to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no further questions.
No further questions. I think my only comments was with regard to that connection path to the sidewalk there. Is that new to the, is that a new update from last time?
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk about that a little bit? The new, the path that you've updated there?
Yep. Oh, do you want to take?
Sure. Trina Murphy, 155 Middlesex LLC, and D&D Homes.
Could you just bring your microphones just a little closer? Thank you, Trina.
Apologies. So at the last meeting, we presented a pedestrian access plan. We talked a little bit about the details of the plan, the material usage and kind of our intentions. So really, this update on the site plan is really just applying what we reviewed at the prior meeting to the existing, proposed conditions plans and any other renderings and such, so everything was consistent. So I'm more than happy to walk through the details of the pedestrian access plan again, if you'd like.
Okay. I'm all set for that. Does anybody on the board want to see that again? I thought that was a great proposal, and it's stone dust? Is that what it's
Yes.
going to be? Okay, so it's going to be a pervious material, so that's great. So, and it's going to connect right up to that sidewalk, right?
There isn't an existing sidewalk at our adjacent neighbor, but for the future, it will be,
Yeah.
it will align, yes.
Perfect. And then they can cross over to Third Ave, which is going to be a great asset to, I think, to your
Exactly,
site.
to our tenants as well.
Yep, thank you. Okay, let's see, this is a public hearing. Do we have any members from the public that want to speak on this particular application, for or against? Anybody online?
I'm seeing no one.
Okay. Thank you. How about Ernie, our board member? Sorry, Ernie, forgot you there. Any comments?
Nope, all set, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Covino. May I have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing in this matter.
Second?
Chairman Gaffney?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sutherland?
Yes.
Member LaRue?
Yes?
Member Impemba?
Yes,
Member Covino?
Yes,
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve the request of 155 Middlesex LLC applicant for approval of a site plan application in compliance with Section 9.3.4 criteria for approval and to permit findings under Section 6.1.2.2 and Section 8.1.7 of the zoning bylaws for property located at 155 Middlesex Turnpike premises to permit the construction of a 16,683 plus or minus square foot expansion of an existing office building with associated site improvements and parking calculations project as reflected on a plan entitled Permit Site Plan Number 155 Middlesex Turnpike, Burlington, Massachusetts, 01803 for 155 Middlesex Turnpike Site Plan prepared by Hancock Associates dated March 18, 2024, and revised to May 8, 2024, consisting of 6 sheets, subject to the following revisions, terms, and conditions.
Second?
Okay. Roll call?
Chairman Gaffney?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
yes.
Covino?
yes.
Okay, that's 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
And I
much.
just want to thank planning staff for their help and guidance through their process. They're always very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to take items 7B and 7C together for discussion purposes.
Second?
Chairman Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes?
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Yes.
Okay. Item B is a continued public hearing and application for approval for a special permit pursuant to 2.7.9 hazardous and toxic materials, chemicals, used storage, transport, disposal, or discharge of the zoning bylaws, One Rounder Way, ACO Property LLC applicant. And item C is a continued discussion for the request for approval of minor engineering change at One Rounder Way and ACO Property LLC applicant.
Good
Okay, hi,
evening.
folks.
Good evening, Julia Winyard with CSL Consulting. Let my, the rest of the team introduce themselves.
Yeah, Ming Zhang, I'm a board member of Dynamic Cure.
My name is Lauren Harvey. I'm the manager of laboratory operations at Dynamicure.
Great.
Also on the WebEx, we have our architect, Mike Bush, who's also joined us.
Okay, yep.
Since we last were here, we have applied with John Kelly's guidance for a request for determination of applicability with the Conservation Commission, and we'll be on their hearing next week. And on this past Tuesday, we received approval from the Board of Health. So we're here looking for a favorable determination.
Okay. Staff, are there any updates?
Yes, we do have some updates on this application. As I understand it, the last time this applicant was here, I'm looking at the wrong folder. Last time this applicant was here, there were some concerns about older contamination in the area that was part of a project that was in Burlington a while ago. And then there was a question about the vivarium, and I have updates from the Board of Health on both of them. That's Christine Mathis, she's our environmental engineer. With regards to the contamination, it's contamination from US Wind, which was up on the summit. And so that was taken care, that kind of traveled down towards Seven Springs, and that was taken care of and is contained and is being treated at Seven Springs. It has nothing to do with the site. So I know there was a gentleman who came to voice his concerns. So that is all being handled. The Board of Health knows about it. They are monitoring it. It's an active thing, but it doesn't have anything to do with One Rounder. The contamination is not there. And then as far as the vivarium is concerned, I got information from Christine Mathis. The Board of Health has issued their own set of conditions on this. So they have limited the type of the animals that are allowed to be in the vivarium. They also note that there's nothing, the animals are not exposed to anything infectious. And what they're used for is essentially to make sure that, to see that if the therapy that they're working on to get FDA approval is working. And so I think it's a standard thing for most drug discovery. And so Christine Mathis was not concerned with having this in town at all.
Okay. And so I'll open up to the board, Ms. I'll comment after that. So why don't we start off with Member LaRue?
I have no further questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go over to Member Covino.
I'm all set right now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Member Sutherland
I also have no questions.
and Member Impemba.
Good.
Okay, thank you. The only question I had, so with regard to the vivarium, it's a specific type, it's only going to be mammals, or can you get into details?
So from what I understand is it's specially bred mice that are specifically bred for this type of research. And the Board of Health has limited it to just mice.
Just mice, okay.
So,
Just rodents.
just rodent.
Oh, that's different.
Sorry, that's different.
Okay, that's,
So it's limited to rodents because at future stages.
hold on, just a second.
It might be Ernie might be having.
Okay,
feedback.
At future stages, it could be widened to the use of rats, and so we had the verbiage changed from mice to rodents, which they reflected in their conditions.
Okay, I was not aware of that, but.
okay. Do we have the actual comments from?
Yes, I have an email from Christine Mathis.
Okay. I guess my question, maybe just to staff, is if that's consistent with other vivariums with the rat. I know mice are common as you go up, as we go to larger rodents and then larger mammals. Is that consistent with other towns that have similar?
I do not know that at this point. From what I understand, they're looking to get FDA approval on this on whatever this medication is. So I do know that from Christine Mathis, there are both federal as well as state regulations regarding vivariums that they will have to adhere to as well, especially if they're going through the FDA approval process for a drug. So.
Okay. All right, thank you. So this is a public hearing, right? Is there anybody from the public like to speak on this particular application? No? Seeing none?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to
motion,
make a
please.
motion to close the public hearing on this matter.
Second?
Chairman Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
It's unmuted.
Covino? He just muted it. Ernie?
Yes.
Thanks, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I would further like to make a motion
Sorry.
to approve the request of ACO Property LLC for a special permit pursuant to Section 4.2.7.9, hazardous and toxic materials, chemical use storage, transport, disposal, or discharge of the Town of Burlington zoning bylaw to allow for a research and development laboratory to operate in the Town of Burlington zoning bylaw, to allow for a research and development laboratory to operate in the existing building for property located at the Innovation and Aquifer Districts at 1 Rounder Way, subject to the terms and conditions contained in Exhibit B attached.
Second?
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Yes.
Okay, 500.
I would further like to make a motion to approve the request for approval of a minor engineering change for property located at 1 Rounder Way to permit new on-site mechanical equipment as reflected on the site plan entitled Site Plan at 5 Commonwealth Executive Drive in Burlington, Massachusetts, prepared by Hayes Engineering dated March 22, 2004, and redlined to by Bush Wang on April 30th, 2024, subject to the following revisions, terms, and conditions.
Second?
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Yes.
500, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Thank you very much.
Town
Good luck.
of Burlington to give our support. It's mean a lot to us, and we are looking forward to work with you and build this beautiful facility in Town of Burlington. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. Thanks,
Best of
guys.
luck with your
Thank you and
research.
welcome to Burlington.
Yes.
Are we on this one? Yep.
To
Okay.
7D.
Mr. Chair, would like to make a motion to take items 7D and 7E together for discussion purposes.
Second?
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Yes.
Okay, item D is a continued public hearing and application for approval of special permit pursuant to 4.3.2.6 outdoor storage and supplies and equipment incidental to permitted uses, subject to requirements for location, lighting, screening, fencing, cover, and safety precautions of the zoning bylaws, 1 Bedford Street. ACOM Tishman is the applicant. And 7E is a continued discussion for request for approval of a minor engineering change, 1 Bedford Street. ACOM Tishman is the applicant.
All right, I know that we have members of the applicant team, they're all online. John, I see that you're unmuted. I've requested to unmute others on the applicant group that are online. So John, if you want to go ahead and go to speak, you should be able to speak at this point.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Yes, Caleb, thank you, and William. So we're looking to install a Bloom fuel cell, as we discussed in our previous board meeting, and it was tabled until they could come out, the board could come out and, witness what a Bloom fuel cell is, and kind of get an idea of what we wanted to install. I have the Bloom technology engineer, he's on as well on this call, as well as my Tishman representatives. The Bloom fuel cell will be, nicely placed up against the building on a pad. We intended to install bollards, and we're going to add some landscaping and relocate some of those existing trees that are there today. As we talked about, we wanted to make it look, acceptable within the community. There is quite, the cover between us and any other neighbor within, any type of viewing distance. So I don't know if the board has any specific questions about what we intend to do.
Okay, we'll send this over to staff. Any additional items, staff?
Yeah, so I was able to go out with you, Mr. Chair, to meet John at one of their existing Bloom sites earlier this week. So that was really helpful to be able to kind of be in front of them. We had a decibel reader on our phone to be able to kind of actually measure the noise that was coming out of these energy servers. So a couple of things that were mentioned at the previous planning board meeting. First was bollards, which is kind of hard to see here, but they haven't added them to the site plan. They're these little black specks almost on the site plan. You can see them that they are surrounding the new installation here. The trees that need to be relocated as part of this are now going to be closer to the front along Bedford Street. And then noise was a concern, I think, at the last one, but based off of being there and the data sheet that they've given us. And while this is neighboring a residential property, that when you do a measurement of how close these are to the closest unit, it's over 160 feet away. There is a row of trees, and there's also 2 road places where vehicles drive by anyways. So I think that there was discussion about a sound attenuation system, but based off of being there, we feel that that's not necessary, given that once you walk, 20, 30 feet away, it's very difficult to hear them at that point, and the energy servers that we saw were more than double the amount that's being installed here. So that's the update from staff based off of, or from the last hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll send this over to Member Sutherland. Any comments?
No concerns?
Okay, Member Impemba?
No?
Member Covino, please.
No, all set, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Member LaRue?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Caleb. I thought the visit there was good. I thought the site visit was important, that we do that. I read a little bit higher as the sound was bouncing close to the building. If I went around to where we went, it was up at Brooks Automation on Elizabeth Street in Chelmsford. So if you went around, instead of on the side where the ball is, where if you went towards the building, then the sound would bounce off there. It would be a little bit higher, probably 6 to 8 decibels higher than that, but not loud. And then if you went on the other side, like we went into the parking lot, we could barely hear it, and that was 20, 30 feet off. My only question, and this would be to the applicant, would be the facilities manager of that particular company noted that, I think you might have said the town required a natural gas shutoff to be installed with that. Is that something that's typical for that, or is that something that was unique to that particular site?
I think it's right there on the plan. It says new. I believe that's a GSO. It's labeled. That's a gas shutoff.
Okay.
That's required as part of the installation. And Greg, if you want to weigh in on any of that discussion. But they all come with, proper shutoffs for safety purposes.
Oh, got it. Great.
Oh, right there.
Perfect. Yep. That's great.
Yeah.
Shut off. Yep. Perfect. Yeah. Did you have someone that wanted to comment on that? Sorry.
I didn't know if Greg had any extra information he wanted to provide, but there's all kinds of safeties built into this.
Okay. Is Greg on or off?
Greg's on. Let me send him a
Yeah, just
request to
send-
unmute.
Yep.
So Greg, you'll be sent a request to unmute. So,
And maybe he doesn't want to comment. I didn't know if he wanted to add anything.
okay.
Okay, I think I'm good with that then. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Public.
Oh, public, sorry, thank you. Can we open up to this, public? Anyone in the public want to talk on this particular application for or against? Seeing none, let's have a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing in these matters.
Second?
Gaffney.
Yes?
Sutherland.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Impemba.
Yes.
Covino.
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to further make a motion to approve the request of ACOM Tishman for a special permit pursuant to Section 4.3.2.6, outdoor storage of supplies and equipment incidental to permitted uses, subject to requirements for location, lighting, screening, fencing, cover, and safety precautions of Article 4 of the Town of Burlington zoning bylaws to permit the installation of energy servers at 1 Bedford Street within the one-family dwelling RO and Civic Center CC zoning districts, subject to the terms and conditions contained in Exhibit B attached.
Second?
Gaffney.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Impemba.
Yes.
Covino.
Okay.
Yes.
And I would like to make another motion to approve the request for approval of a minor engineering change for property located at 1 Bedford Street to permit the installation of new energy servers.
Hold on a second.
Site plan entitled Verizon Fuel Cell Program, 3 Bedford Street, Burlington, Massachusetts, prepared by E3I Engineers dated July 7th, 2023, and revised to May 14th, 2024, subject to the following revisions, terms, and conditions.
Second?
Gaffney.
Yes?
Sutherland.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Impemba.
Yes.
Covino.
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again,
Thank you very much.
this should be, I think, very interesting. This is a new technology. I think they said they had it at Brooks Automation for 2 years. It covers the entire building that they have. It's a very large building compared to what we have here. Zero emission technology, so, you know, it's interesting stuff. So I think we're on our way.
Okay.
All right.
Should let the police department know.
Right. All right, let's move on. We have
All right, thank you.
item F, and item F is a public hearing, an application for approval of special permit pursuant to 4.2.6.20.1, massage therapy of the zoning bylaws, 120 Cambridge Street. Carnation Spa is the applicant.
Up here, speaking to the microphones, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Mi Hua Xi.
And I'm her husband, Brandon Place. Nice to
Yeah, my
nice to see
husband.
everybody.
All right. If you could take a few minutes and describe the particular application.
Yes, she's applying to be the proprietor of Carnation Spa to do massage therapy, Suite 8 at 120 Cambridge Street. She has her license to be a masseur in Massachusetts. She just completed school around Christmas time. And I can't say enough about her, other than the fact that I'm very proud of how hard she's worked. There's a lot of people who are in massage who don't spend a lot of time in their kitchen night after night studying anatomy and studying it in English. So that's, I'm very proud of her. She's done a great job with it.
Great. Okay, so massage therapy at 121 Cambridge Street, and that, 120 Cambridge Street, that is located at, across from the high school?
That is the Hillside Colony Plaza across from the high school.
Okay.
Is that plaza. And so this is, so just from staff's perspective, we have received massage therapy licenses as part of this application. There's one for the applicant herself and then another for another.
There's one other employee, yes.
Yep.
Another employee, okay.
Yep. And so it is our policy that any other additional employees, that we make sure that we have copies of those massage therapy licenses on file as well. And we, what else? We did receive a floor plan, so that was helpful.
I'm sorry.
No.
That's all my, she was trying to convert feet into inches on that. I don't know what was going on with that.
Don't worry, no,
Yeah.
it got the job done. We get it, we figured it out.
We finally did, yeah.
Yes, it's all set. And so we currently do not have any concerns. They've met all the requirements of the planning office at this point.
Okay. Why don't I start with my fellow board members? Member LaRue.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
All right. Member Covino.
All said, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Member Impemba?
No, I assume, so how many people do you anticipate having in there at any given time?
Usually it's about, usually do a couples massage usually.
Yeah.
About 2 people is the max usually at any one time. It's either a couples massage or it's a single massage.
Not a lot of
Not a lot.
parking
No.
needs or anything.
Yeah, no.
Because that's a pretty Busy plaza.
Yeah, we both all have a license.
Yeah, and yes, the lot is usually about, half full when it's really busy.
No, that's it.
Thank you, Member Sutherland.
Do you anticipate hiring any more masseuses, or do you feel like it'll be you and the one other that's currently employed?
I think because, business is okay, but business is not exactly going crazy because, obviously, people don't have a lot of extra money nowadays sometimes, so that does kind of harm it a bit. So right now, no, I don't anticipate anybody else right now, but we'll see.
Okay. And just for note that, if you do plan to hire in the future, because hopefully your business is booming, just make sure that we also get copies of those licenses.
Yeah, well, what's great is the online system is wonderful. It's been,
Perfect.
even I can just upload stuff.
Okay,
Most of the time, do it right.
That's great.
It's awesome to hear.
That's a new improvement that we had with,
Oh, it's wonderful.
so that's great.
It's wonderful.
Thank you for that feedback.
Sorry, one other. And is this your only location? Do you have any other?
This is the only location.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my understanding that you've been open for a little while, and for you to stay open, you'd have to come here for the special permit.
Yes.
How long were you open for?
When did you take over that? Was it 4 months?
This
What
last
month did you take over last year? Do you remember?
license, January.
January, okay.
It was, yeah, I believe.
Yeah, January again.
Right after you
I
completed
finished
your...
December.
Yeah.
Right, okay, right after you've been completed your test then. How long has your other employee had their test completed?
She was in your class, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they were in class together.
yeah, yeah.
So, operating for
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 or 5 months prior to coming in, okay.
Yes.
And my only other question here is with hours. What are your anticipated hours going to be?
You open at 9 and you close when?
Close 8.
You like to close it? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
so it's 8 in the morning to 9, excuse me,
9.
9 in the
9
morning
to
to 8 at
8.
night, yeah.
Evening 8 close.
Okay, great. That's all the questions I have, and we're going to open it up to the public. This is a public hearing. Any members of the audience or online have any comments with regard to this application? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on this matter.
Second?
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Yes,
Okay, 5-0, thank you.
I would also like to make a motion to approve the request of Minhua Shi, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name
Perfect.
correctly, for a special permit pursuant to Section 4.2.6.20.1 massage therapy of the Town of Burlington zoning bylaws to permit the operation of a massage therapy spa within an existing 1,300 plus or minus square foot tenant space to be known as Carnation Spa for property located in the General Business District at 120 Cambridge Street, Unit 8, subject to the terms and conditions contained in Exhibit B attached.
Second?
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
yes.
5-0, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, thank you. Everyone's been very kind
Thank
to
you
all
so
of us,
much.
we appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome you guys to come my store.
All right,
Free massage. Okay, thank you so much.
Good luck and welcome to Burlington.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
May I have a motion?
Yes. Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion to take items 7G, 7H, and 7I together for discussion purposes.
Second?
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Yes,
All right, so item 7G is a public hearing and application for approval of a special permit pursuant to 1.5.2, laboratories engaged in research, experimental, and testing activities, including but not limited to the fields of biology, chemistry, electronics, engineering, geology, medicine, and physics, subject to the planning board making the findings set forth in the sections 8.3.7.4 of the zoning bylaws, and subject to the applicable rules and regulations of the Board of Health of the Northwest Park Plan Development District zoning bylaws, 10 North Ave. Envision Energy USA LTD is the applicant. 7H is a public hearing and application for approval of special permit pursuant to 1.5.4 hazardous and toxic materials, chemical storages to use storages, transport, and disposal of discharge of the Northwest Park Plan Development District zoning bylaws, 10 North Ave. Envision Energy USA LTD is the applicant. And 7I is a public hearing application for approval of a special permit pursuant to 1.5.6, generation or storage of hazardous waste in excessive volumes classified as very small quantities, generator of the Northwest Park Plan Development Zoning Bylaws, 10 North Ave, Envision Energy USA LTD applicant. All right, hi, folks.
Good evening. My name is Brian Brager, and I'm the Operations Manager for Envision Energy. I would also like to introduce my colleagues here today.
Hi, my name is Ankur Gupta. I'm Senior Material Scientist at...
Could you move the microphone just a little closer?
Hi, my name is Ankur Gupta. I'm Senior Material Scientist at Envision Energy.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Scher, Senior Process Engineer at Envision Energy.
Okay. Okay, can you describe a little bit what Envision Energy is potentially up to at the site?
Yeah, next page. I just want to talk a little bit and introduce you a little bit about who Envision Energy is. Envision Energy is actually a multinational global green tech company focused on energy management solutions related to wind, battery, digital operations, and electrolysis. The Envision mission is to solve the global changes in sustainable future by decarbonizing the conventional industry by accelerating clean energy revolution. Our core technology uses electrolyzers to perform electrolysis by splitting water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen by passing direct current through the water. At our customer sites, this technology will be entirely powered by renewable energy with zero emissions to the atmosphere.
Okay.
At this current time, we have 2 facilities in Burlington that are located in the Nordblom's Park, Business Park. We have a 5,000 square foot facility located in 1 North, which is focusing on small-scale material synthesis, ink preparation, coating operations, improving our product's efficiency, mechanical assembly, and test assembly. This facility has been operated under the special permit since May of 2023 and was recently renewed. We're actually here today seeking a special permit for a 3,000 square foot facility in 10 North Ave. We'll be focused on prototype scale by assessing new materials, coating technologies, improving our product's efficiency, along with final product assembly and testing. We're seeking the special permit for this facility. This facility is estimated to be under construction starting in June through October 2024. This construction project will create the H2 Center of Excellence with the state-of-the-art laboratories. In this slide we're showing here is our 10 North floor plan that we have designed. This is where the operations will take place. Everything listed in new will be added during the construction project. Everything that's listed in existing that's grayed out will be remaining. The cost of this project is estimated to be over $10 million once completed. In this slide, we're just showing our product flow chart. It just shows the material process coming into inventory, process flows, assembly, testing, data analysis.
Is that it?
Can you just get back to your flow chart just for a second? Back one. There we go. Just going to take a quick look at that. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I just want a little bit more about Envision Energy. The Envision Energy of Excellence was established in April 2023 in Burlington with 8 employees. Our company has experienced steady growth with headcounts today at 25 employees, and we're expected to add an additional 5 more employees to this calendar year, another 15 to 20 employees in 2025. This business will bring great paying jobs to Burlington and help support the surrounding businesses. We're also, if we have great success, our product demonstrates and meets our product design specifications. The Envision Group is planning to bring a large-scale manufacturing site to the Northeast region. And this will also bring many great paying jobs as well. Thank you for having us here, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Okay. Thank you. Staff?
Yeah, so I mean, at first, just like to say that we're really excited to see Envision and if you may remember from last year that they came here at 1 North Ave. So now they're just looking to move to a neighboring building, that now this is going to be a much larger facility than what was previously permitted. This is a really great company with jobs in Burlington in the green tech sector. We really don't have any major concerns. I think the only kind of thing is just, and I think it's touched on a little bit, but just kind of clarifying just what 1 North Ave for Envision will be versus what this new facility at 10 North Ave, and just kind of just explaining so that we're aware kind of where the Envision different employees will be working.
Sure, yeah. So located at 1 North, our plan is to continue utilizing the space. It's only 5,000 square feet, and there's only 2-way volts in the building, so it's very little power. Our utilization there is to have chemists there performing small-scale research on materials. So they're basically testing different coatings, different processes, and how they can develop, so we can actually get our full product scale to meet, good product efficiency.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's hear from the board on this. Why don't I start with Member Covino?
I think I'm all set right now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Member Impemba?
I'm all set.
Okay, Member Sutherland?
I'm also all set.
Okay, Member LaRue?
I just had one quick question. It's 30,000 square feet in the new building?
30,000 square
Okay.
feet, yes.
I wasn't sure if I heard that correctly. Thank you, that's all.
Okay, so just so my benefit here, so this is special permits, so it has nothing to do with site plan, right? I guess my question is, so what you're doing is you're making the actual systems similar to our last applicant who was putting their systems into attached building to produce electricity. Is that correct?
So what we're developing is called the electrolyzer, and what the previous person that was here requesting is actually operating a fuel cell.
Yep.
So the fuel cell takes the hydrogen and converts it into power. Our product actually makes the hydrogen.
Oh, you're
For the
making
fuel
the
cell.
hydrogen fuel the first, okay, so you're
Correct.
related. And they're located, I think, somewhere in California, Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's great, yeah, it's great.
So
Great to hear that.
you're right downtown, and so that's great. So you're producing the hydrogen from, so the output of yours is hydrogen gas?
Correct.
Okay, and that hydrogen gas, I'm just trying to think from a safety standpoint, that would be transported in
Nope.
tanker trucks, or?
No, so our product is the electrolyzer, and the
Oh, the
byproduct going into it is actually water, and we electrocute the water, that creates the hydrogen. At no time are we storing hydrogen. Our hydrogen is actually being vented out to the air, so it's safe.
So the output, your output is some sort of material that you get in, but you're combining it with high voltage and water, is that the
Correct.
intent of that? Okay.
So our output is
A little more, just closer to.
Our output is hydrogen and oxygen, and then we are going to vent it out to the atmosphere.
Okay.
We gonna dilute it before it is vented out. So Ben can address that question very well.
Ben, would you mind? Thank you for
Yeah.
bringing that right close, Ben.
I mean, the product is still the electrolyzer. So, at 10 North Ave, we'll be testing it. It will be producing hydrogen, producing oxygen, and those will be vented to a safe location outside of the building. And we'll be testing the product, the electrolyzer, to see its efficiency, how that performs against our expectations, and how well we can market it as a product.
Is that electrolyzer, is that flammable at all?
No.
Okay. And I think just the other question I had is with, you're using a high voltage to excite the chemical reaction?
No, it's less than 50 volts.
Less than 50 volts, okay. High current at all, or?
Yes.
So what's your current?
10,000 amps would be the highest.
10,000 amps, okay. So is there protections around that? And
Yes.
because 10,000 amps is pretty high, right?
Yeah, that's significant. Yeah, so we have touch protection, and then anything that's energized and that the operator might have access to, we have proximity switches, so that if that guarding is no longer in place, the whole system is de-energized, and there's no longer that energy applied within the system.
Okay, thank you. Kind of, we're going, for me, I'm thinking it just goes back in time, because we used to have a high voltage road actually up on, I think,
The summit?
right, the summit back in the day, so kind of things are coming around again. So I just think from a power ask, if you will, is that unusual for that building? Is there anything special you have to do to get that power into that building for that high current?
Yes, so we're actually in the process of the construction phase. We, our landlord, Nordblum, is actually in the process of carrying additional power with Eversource to the building.
Okay. Member LaRue.
Thank you. I just want to make sure I understand. So your product is the electrolyzer, not the hydrogen. You would then sell the electrolyzer, and people would be creating their own hydrogen?
Correct.
And right now, you're testing, and when you complete that process, you'll be manufacturing the electrolyzer elsewhere?
Somewhere in the northeast.
Yeah, somewhere in the northeast, yeah.
I just want to make sure I understood. Thank you.
Thank you, Member LaRue. Just a question then, anything from Board of Health on that?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
There were some comments from Board of Health, but they're very standard comments.
And so just, if I may, Mr. Chairman, so you guys have seen all the comments that the other boards and commissions have issued you?
Yes.
Anything unusual from the comment?
Nothing unusual. I think the Board of Health comments, there are some that are specific to this use,
Yeah.
but they have seen them through the.
Each electrolyzer test station will have hydrogen, oxygen detectors.
Okay.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's standard noise and work, dust, odor control. If anything changes, you have to let them know, storing and processing standard items, and then obtaining hazardous materials disposal permit prior to renovation. The only specific thing is that each electrolyzer test station will have hydrogen and oxygen detectors.
Okay, great.
And then no other comments.
From the other departments? Okay. I'm all set, and is this a public hearing, if you want to open that up? Anybody in the audience want to speak for this particular application? Not in-house? Anybody online? No. Okay, seeing none?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on these matters.
Second?
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the request of Envision Energy for 3 special permits pursuant to Sections 1.5.2 Laboratories, Engage in Research, Section 1.5.4 Hazardous and Toxic Materials, Chemicals, and Section 1.5.5 Generation or Storage of Hazardous Waste to permit the use of the premises for laboratory research and development and office uses on property of the Northwest Park PPD zoning provisions to permit of the premises for laboratory research and development and office uses associated with renewable energy solutions on property by the name of Envision Energy for property located in the Northwest Park Plan Development District and the Water Resource WR District located at 10 North Avenue, subject to the terms and conditions contained in Exhibit B attached.
Second?
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome to Burlington, again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for expanding, yes. Very interesting technology.
Appreciate your support.
Another zero-emission technology thing. I think we're seeing a theme here.
Mr.
right.
Chair, may I make a motion to take items 7J and 7K together for discussion purposes?
Second.
Roll call.
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. 7J, a public hearing application for approval of a special permit pursuant to 4.2.2.28.1 fitness centers of the zoning bylaws, 240 Middlesex Turnpike. Core Development and Management is the applicant. And 7K is a discussion request for approval of a minor engineering change. 240 Middlesex Turnpike. Core Development and Management is the applicant. Hi.
Hi, Steve Venezia for Core Development and Management. Wonderful to see you again. Sean Andriano, our architect from C2 Architects, is on the WebEx. If I could take you through a brief presentation. You've seen some of the slides during our opportunity to go through the zoning amendment process, but this is a little bit more site-specific, so.
Okay. Right.
Sure. So CDM was founded in 2007 and began franchising Planet Fitness locations. We now own 80 locations. It was 70 the last time I was here, so we've grown a little bit more in 5 states. We did purchase the Burlington location in November of 2022, and we have agreed to an LOI with Burlington Equitable LP, the owner of the property that is subject to this hearing. Our goal is to bring high-value, low-cost fitness to everybody in the Burlington community. The existing location, as you all know, is at 40 Ray Ave. It's an inferior, outdated location. You see there are hours of operation, which we're not planning on changing in the new location, are Monday to Thursday, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Currently have about 5,300 members, and that building is 25,000 square feet with about 18,000 square feet of usable gym space. That club opened back in 2007. Our new location proposal is for 240 Middlesex Turnpike Extension. Again, our hours of operations will remain the same. We're expecting those members to transfer over predominantly, and we'll be using approximately 17,000 square feet of state-of-the-art gym space, brand new gym space. We're looking forward to offering improved amenities and offerings with higher visibility and easier access to our members in the community. We believe this location is closer to our members based on our member plotting and whatnot. We have better ADA accessibility opportunities in this location. It'll also be an improved layout, significantly better amenities and offerings, just something we can't bring the current building up to standards on. And again, we just want to increase that low-cost, high-value offering to the people of Burlington. These are just some pictures to show you what a newer club looks like. If anybody's been in the current club, this is not what the current club looks like. I'll be the first to admit that. So it really is a wonderful facade, wonderful amenities inside. Those are pictures of our Black Card area. We actually have a brand new state-of-the-art desk that does not look like that, that we got to pilot in one of our clubs. So I'm excited about that as well. And the equipment is unbelievable. It's all first class, high quality equipment with tons of cardio, a lot more strength equipment, et cetera, than our current club offers. For the site, this is obviously an application for a special permit. We are looking to open the Planet Fitness there. The current location is a Bauer Hockey Experience. They would be reducing their space to the left of the current, where they are currently. Thanks to all of our efforts collectively, I'd like to say, the zoning bylaws now allow this fitness center use for up to 20,000 square feet, which I think was a great move by the town back in February? Wow. January, sorry. The maximum occupancy in the 17,000 square feet is 340 occupants, and the parking is shared with Dunkin' and Bauer, which have very different peak demand times and average stay times, of course, as we all know from a Dunkin' perspective and our perspective. So the site does currently meet parking requirements. The parking on the site was reduced in 2015 to increase green space to the southeast of the building. One of the things we've talked to the landlord about was opportunities to increase that green space. And Phil Hoey, who's the owner of the property, did explain to us that, yeah, we took advantage of that when Pure Hockey at the time went in. They took parking away on the left side of the building as you look forward to increase green space at that time to mitigate. And they also addressed some drainage issues, I believe, at that time. Phil is working on closing out a condition report as we speak, based on something that came up in 2014, but was addressed, we believe, in the 2015 remodeling of the parking lot. So that's good news as well. We're also applying for a minor engineering change simply because that 2015 site plan, the city didn't have, or the town didn't have a copy of it. So that's what precipitated the minor engineering change. It's not an actual change in the condition of the current property, just so everybody's aware. We did look into the traffic as well. We wanted to make sure that traffic would not be materially impacted. Our overall check-ins at any 15 increment, our average check-ins is 8. So we looked at our check-ins in the club on 15-minute increments to see what kind of traffic would be coming in and out. It's 8 check-ins, so 8 people. Some of them could be coming in the same car, but for conservatism, we'll call it 8 check-ins. Average at peak times is about 12 check-ins, and the absolute highest check-in volume we saw was Tuesdays at about 5:15 p.m., which was 17 check-ins. So really immaterial traffic impact. These are the parking requirements. I'm sorry, it's a little bit smaller there, but I would represent that they meet, the current square footage does meet parking requirements. Excuse me. This is an aerial view. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood where we were talking about. So the green space that we were talking about that was added, that used to be parking in a couple of slides. I'll just show you the old site plan versus this site plan. There are crosswalks. I know we had a question come up at one point about accessibility to the property. There are crosswalks at both crossroads of Bedford Street and Middlesex Turnpike Extension, so we were happy with that being there. And then we did talk to Mr. Hoey about the strip of land that abuts Middlesex Turnpike Extension just from a vegetation perspective. He said he has explored vegetation there. I did drive by on the way here just to check it out. There is vegetation in that strip, but he did remove some of the vegetation because of the ingress and egress coming out. He claimed that he was getting complaints about being able to see coming out into the traffic. So that was the answer we got from him, because we wanted to make sure that that was as attractive as possible. So this is the current, I'm sorry, that's the original site plan. So you see there's parking along that southeast side of the building that no longer exists. That was changed in 2015 to, again, address that green space, increase it to the extent possible. And then you'll see the revised site plan there. This is basically the current state of affairs at the plaza. That is it for presentation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff, any comments?
Steve, you took a lot of things I was going to say, but just kind of as a reminder to the board that this was the impetus for the zoning amendment change that passed at January town meeting that allows for fitness centers to go up to 20,000 square feet through special permit approval. This is approximately 17,000. You can kind of see it here. You know, I can see it easiest out of anybody, but kind of you follow my cursor that this space here is where Planet Fitness will be. The Dunkin' Donuts here to the right where my cursor is, it's staying unchanged to how it is. And then this is where Bauer Hockey is going to be downsizing to on the left side of the site. And they're saying that there was some change to the site that when we're reviewing the application, that the minor engineering change is not resulting in any construction. It's just codifying the site plan that we will then reference in an eventual special permit decision. So that is accurate. That with that 2014, 2015 work, I got a note from John Keeley when he got this reviewed that there was work done and they had gotten permission for it in 2014, but that there was no certificate of compliance that's even been requested, let alone issued. And so I think that something is part of this, that if the planning board does move forward with this, that part of a condition of occupancy for Planet Fitness would be ensuring that that certificate of compliance is finished and completed with the Conservation Department before a certificate of occupancy.
Caleb, can I ask a quick question on that? I'm sorry, is that okay?
Go ahead.
Is that the Massachusetts Conservation Department or is it Burlington's Conservation?
So John Keeley is the Burlington Conservation
Right.
Department, but I believe that it was an application with the Massachusetts Department of Environment, DEP.
Right, so it would be the request to go to them, not to John or the
Correct,
Burlington
yes.
Department.
So the property owner would request to close that out.
Yep.
It's a request to close it out. And so it's kind of just close it, I guess it's a close the loop on that.
Yep, yeah, yeah.
I think they're aware of that.
Yes.
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 Yep.
And so then, kind of as we touched on that, I think kind of seeing where potential additional landscaping could be installed, and knowing that, okay, maybe not of putting it here in this landscape, in this grass strip along Middlesex Turnpike, understanding the concern about not wanting to overcrowd, especially near the entrance exit over here, but kind of wondering if it's possible to put more landscaped trees, some sort of plantings along this part along here is something that staff would be looking for. And other than that, there's no other comments.
Okay, thank you, staff. I'll open it up to board members. Why don't we go with Member Sutherland, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would say my main comment is, I mean, you guys are going to be making this an extremely modern facility. I would love to see parking area or the entrance come along to be a little bit more modern as well. So I would just second what Caleb is saying around, I would like to understand what the options are from a landscape perspective. I also do understand, the landlord not wanting to block the view, but it feels like there has to be some pretty reasonable, low-lying, that can deal with salt type of vegetation that would make it a little bit more attractive. It's such a massive piece of concrete in front of what will be a very nice building. I would just like to see some attempt at some additional
I
landscaping.
appreciate that. We're working with Mr. Hoey on just that. We love to see an appealing, you don't get a second chance to make a great first impression, right? So we love the opportunity to do that. Obviously, one of the things is we can't reduce the parking just because of where we are from a square footage and parking requirement perspective. But one of the conversations I had with him today was just seeing what we could do to maximize that strip out front, whether it be shrubs, whether it be low trees. The other thing we just have to keep into consideration is the height of those trees from the car, because there is no pylon signage at this particular plaza, just so you're aware, on Middlesex Turnpike Extension. So the only visible signage for Dunkin', Planet Fitness, and Bauer is on the facade. So you just have to be cautious. It's sort of that balance between the trees that are going to block from the cars going by and the shrubs. So certainly whatever we can do to optimize that would be great.
Then even if there's any like planters you could put in front to draw the attention also might be nice.
You mean in front of the building or
Yeah.
in front of the building itself? Because it's a.
Love it. Your
very-
entrance.
Yeah, so it's a great shot there. Thank you, Caleb. I was going to ask for that. So, so I think there's opportunity there for sure.
That's it for me.
Thank you. Member Impemba.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think I'd like to see more landscaping. I would like to see some islands in there, but I don't know how much that's going to affect the parking.
Yeah, we looked into that. The islands, I don't think they'd be able to be done because of the parking requirements.
Right. You said you created green space on the side. Is there any way to trade off some islands for some for parking on the side, or is that?
I could, so through you, Mr. Chairman, so the reason why I believe that this green space was created on the side of the building is because if you look directly behind it, it is in the riparian zone. There is a stream that goes back there, so I believe that the Concom requested that the pavement be pulled back in this area specifically because of the adjacency to the riparian zone. So as far as trading off, I don't know if that would be a possibility, but I understand completely where you're coming from, Joe.
Yeah, it seems to me that there's like so much more parking here than there is down on
Ray Ave.
Ray Ave, yeah.
Oh, there's no comparison to the amount of parking. It's about 100 more spaces. However, Ray Ave is a current non-conforming use, so Ray Ave would not be approved today with the parking. So the parking, I believe we have somewhere in the neighborhood, and Sean, if is there, can speak to this, but I think we have about 3 spaces of leeway here based on the square footage and the parking requirements of the zoning bylaws.
So is it parking requirements that we're talking about, or is it actual need for parking? Because if you put 100 spots, if you all of a sudden gave 100 spots to Ray Ave, there'd never be a parking. If you gave them 60 more spots, it wouldn't be a parking.
I would say the answer is both. It's both. It will be need. Certainly one of the reasons that we're relocating the premises to this location is because we expect it to better serve our members, to be able to check in more easily. I think one of the things that affects when our members check in, how many members we have, is the lack of parking at Ray Avenue. It's one of the reasons we want to relocate the club, right? And I know it obviously is a requirement as well. So generically speaking, we ask for about 6 spaces per 1,000 square feet of occupiable square feet.
Right. So what are the hours of the Bauer that's there? And
I'd have to look. I don't know the hours.
I'm just wondering, like, the hours that you guys would be open would probably not be peak hours for anything, really, for either one of those, either Dunkin's or.
Dunkin' we share some peak hours with. However, I would say that the average stay time for a Dunkin' customer is very, very low. So there's an advantage there. They come in, they go out. Our average stay time is about 45 minutes. So ours is much lower than your ordinary gyms, say your Lifetimes, for example, much, much longer, much different. So the stay time certainly helps, but, you know, I mean, I certainly hope, my hope would be that this parking lot is fairly occupied, you know, when we are open and at peak.
Yeah, I would like to see if we could play with some of the parking a little bit, to try to get some islands and some trees within the sea of pavement, as you were saying, it would really make a big difference, and there's a lot of residential people, you know, residential areas down there that I'm sure would really appreciate that type of enhancement to the parking.
And of course, ultimately, I know you're aware that, you know, any change to that is not up to us. You know, as a tenant, it would need to come through Mr. Hoey, the owner. But he has been very cooperative, working with us very closely on this. I was on the phone with him today. Unfortunately, you know, he was hoping to be able to make it tonight. He had another engagement that he couldn't get out of.
Okay, Joe? Great. Member Covino?
A couple of things. To clarify oh, sorry about that, and I can't turn that off right now. The address, is Middlesex Turnpike Extension or Middlesex Turnpike?
Middlesex Turnpike Extension.
Okay. I thought I had seen Middlesex Turnpike written down, sorry.
Yep, no, you're right. That is what's
And
advertised.
the other thing I know, when we previously, and I apologize for that telephone, for some reason it keeps going up. The other thing is, I know when we previously looked at the site, as somebody was saying, there is a stream behind the building, and the stream was, had some junk in it. And I don't know if Conservation's has taken a look at it again. Usually when we do revisions to this building, which we, you know, been done a couple of times, one of the conditions was that the stream be emptied of, and I think, oh, maybe it was because of Star Market was there. Now that I think of it, it was probably baskets, push baskets for grocery stores. So maybe that's, I don't know. I was unable to take a look at this site. I don't know, has staff been behind the building at all?
So I can speak to this. So the comments that we received from the Conservation Commission, they provided us with no comments, meaning that they were okay with it. I do believe that back when you're referring to that they did find debris behind in the Vine Brook, I believe that was taken care of. And then now they just need to kind of close out the paperwork with the DEP. So I do know that the Conservation Commission, they do go out, they do site visits, and I know that John Keeley would remember this, and so if he didn't provide us with comments, then he's definitely comfortable with it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chair. All set.
Thank you, Member Covino. Member LaRue?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I'm very pleased that you're moving. I think this new location is going to be great for your customers and for residents in the area that will want to become your patrons. I agree with my fellow board members that this is a really big sea of pavement. I understand that you are somewhat limited in what you can do, but I wonder if perhaps you could explore large planters, like raised planter boxes up closer to the building, so that way you could soften the look of the building a little bit, and that's not reliant upon your landlord. That's something that's not permanent that you could put there that would add a more attractive look to your entrance.
I love that idea, and I think that, I mean, based on my conversations with Mr. Hoey, I don't see any issues with that, and it's certainly something we would love to do, just from, again, you don't get a second chance to make a good
Right.
first impression.
Yeah, I would envision, large rectangular planter boxes that could line the front part of your part of the front of the building. And so that's how on either side of your door, you could have a few planter boxes like that, and you could change them up with the seasons. They could be colorful and inviting.
Sean, if Sean's on, I don't know if you can ask him to
See if I
unmute.
can unmute him.
I just want to make sure, because I just want to make sure it's ADA compliant and everything like that, if we're committing to
Well, we
that.
certainly
that-
wouldn't want to block any entrances.
So, through you, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
So I do know that the ADA requirement is 5 feet, so that
Yeah.
if you are going to put anything on the front, as long as it's there's 5 feet of travel way, that it is compliant with ADA. So that is just something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if it's compliant with the ADA, we'd be happy to do anything we could to spruce up the space.
Could we perhaps condition it that this is something that you would work on with staff and our chair?
I would be happy to work on that with you
I am,
folks.
thank you, Madam, Mrs. LaRue.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So for full disclosure, I am a member of the club, although it may not look like it, but, and so I don't think there's any conflict of interest. My questions have to do with traffic. Since this is going to be more traffic than we've seen in that plaza since probably the Star Market was there. And there's always a challenge heading over near the bank with left turning. And there's I think it says, there's a do not block intersection sign right as we exit out towards Bedford Street. And I'm just, maybe this is to staff, is there any recommendations from the police, anything to say maybe there's a no left turn there, or it's going to be considerable amount, I think, of additional traffic coming out of there at times.
So from the folder, Sergeant Abashkaroon with the Police Department had no comments or concerns. I do believe that the traffic light at Middlesex Turnpike and Middlesex Turnpike Extension, that is part of the automated system. But I do know that the one on Bedford Street and Middlesex Turnpike Extension is kind of an older model. So he did not have any comments.
Yeah, Mr. LaRue.
Clarification, are you talking about if people were to exit out, sort of driving in front of Dunkin' Donuts and then trying to take a left
Yes.
onto Bedford Street?
That's
I
correct.
agree with you, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
always been that way, but with really the plaza, because of the particular people that have been in it previously, it's not
Let
been.
me pull up the site so that I can make sure that we're all talking about the same thing.
Okay.
Is
Maybe
this,
a
is this
no
what you're
left.
referring to, this?
That's what I.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we,
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is Bedford
Yeah.
Street.
so people
So keep
taking
on
a
going.
left there, it's hard
Yeah,
because
keep on
the
going
traffic
straight.
backs up.
You go right to Bedford Street there.
Got it, okay.
So if you look to the right, there's the light is right there. Right there.
Yep.
Yep. It's right there. So what happens if you have like two cars? You know what? I know that Member Covino recommended this one time over at, when we put that Massachusetts building over at 62 and Cambridge Street. There was, and I've seen this other places, a big X, so you can't stop.
Yeah, you put the stop, you
Oh,
put the
yeah.
stop line before the thing, and then you X out the intersection.
You X out the intersection.
That's a good
big
idea.
white X on the intersection.
So I don't know if that area is a part of their property.
That is not
It
their
is not.
property.
That's not part of their property. That's a separate property.
No, I'm talking on the Bedford Street itself.
On the street.
Oh,
So if you recall, we put a Massachusetts building over at the intersection of 62 Wilmington Road and Cambridge Street, and there was similar concerns about folks blocking that intersection. And if we can put if you go over to that area, it actually should be repainted, by the way. But if you go over to that intersection and other intersections that you'll see around the state, they do have basically a blocked-off area, and it's a big X, meaning don't sit there where the light is turned, so people can get out. So I did think of a no left turn, but I think if we can
think that's a
apply
better
that there, it's a better
Yes.
way that they can get out there and they'll stop on the light with not blocking the intersection. People tend to behave well with that type of configuration.
And it's just paint, so it's not
yeah.
expensive.
So through you, Mr. Chair, so I can, so the person who talked to this would be Tom Hayes and the engineering department. They utilize the MUTCD, it's a uniform traffic code manual. And so they would need to make sure that this intersection qualifies for that type
Okay, great.
of striping, but it's something that I can bring up at our next staff traffic control working group, which we usually have after GCMs. We talk about different traffic signage, people call and say, we need a crosswalk here, so it's that type of thing. So I can bring that up.
That would be great.
Definitely.
I'd actually like to condition that if it makes sense with Mr. Hayes versus holding it off like the landscaping, because I think it's important here at that intersection.
So I don't know if Mr. Hayes is going to, I don't know how tonight is going to go, but if we condition it, it might not be something that he's willing, that it falls into that uniform traffic code.
So I would say if he doesn't, let's look at alternatives. I think that's important that we do something there. If he says it doesn't fall in, maybe then the no left turn may be an alternative.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Perhaps we condition it that the applicant would work through staff with the engineering department to address this concern.
I'd like to actually hold off to see where that comes in, to be honest with you. I think it's important, instead of leaving that to staff, to actually have the feedback from engineering to see, can it happen there? If not, let's continue that one.
When is that meeting happening?
So it's not a standing meeting, it's just something that comes, that, if we get an email or something, it's a kind of like, people, it's like, we're gonna have a stack meeting, and I can talk to him about it. They probably know.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
They probably know.
Yeah.
It's all, this is a state road, correct? So that's the other question.
Right,
is
you're
it's a
right.
state-
It's Route 62.
It's
a
on
state road.
62, it's a state road, so we probably have a limited.
Right, good point.
Limited recourse as well,
Good point.
unfortunately.
So we may need to go to the no left turn there.
I don't know.
Yep.
If I may,
Go ahead,
though,
Ms.
I am
Ms. Sutherland.
concerned about conditioning it as a part of this when it also affects other tenants. And because we don't know how we don't know how Bauer or Duncan would feel about that as well. I'm concerned about doing a no left turn and what that adds to then the lights. I travel this road every time at the peak time, actually, that he mentioned, and that light gets severely backed up around this time. And I think if we continue to add more cars to the other light, it will continue to create issues with the light versus allowing people to freely exit. So
Now I think about the one over at in Wilmington Road is actually a state road as well, and we didn't have any issues with that. Go ahead.
My
Mrs. Leroux.
concern is, I'm concerned about conditioning something it's something that's out of the control of the applicant. He
Yeah.
doesn't have
Correct.
control over this.
It's an internal.
But it has to do with traffic. That's my.
Yes, it
yeah,
does.
Yeah,
But he can't really control the outcome,
right.
is my concern.
I understand. Okay. Next question I had is if we can go back to landscaping in the front.
Yeah, I'll put the.
Caleb, it'd be great. And so do we know what landscaping was removed by the owner?
I think it was just some shrubs from what he told me.
Some shrubs?
Yeah,
I don't have
I
it.
think right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd be concerned about the ones near the entrance
That's right.
versus the ones, all this area here, if he removed those, so, okay. And my question to the applicant is with regard to, do you have a number of maximum attendees that you register per hour?
We don't register per hour. They come on a check-in basis. So I have the check-in data. Any one time in the club, your maximum is under 90 people in the club at one time. As I indicated, the maximum check-in we saw in any 15-minute increment was 17 people. The average check-in increment is about, in any 15-minute time frame, is about 8 people. That's why we don't feel that the traffic's going to be a huge issue, because you're very much a staggered entrance, staggered exit, and you don't have too many people at any one time.
So you're thinking the same in is kind of the same out, but you don't flag out as you do when you flag?
You do not flag out, right? You just check in. That's correct.
So how do you know you have a maximum occupancy?
We base it on our average stay times and our check-in data, so we also have ways to track from cameras and things like that. We track our member journey through the club and whatnot, so we know what to add for equipment, what not, so we know their average stay time is about 45 minutes with us as opposed to other gyms.
Okay. And just my last question, if I can, Mr. Mpemba. You said you have 6 spaces per 1,000 usable space, so that comes to 102 spaces. What's the current space that you have for that site?
I'd have to look.
For the site, there's,
Sorry, Sean, go ahead.
there's 158 spaces provided on the site.
158, okay.
Did you say 100?
That's
Yep.
shared,
And then the,
That's right.
Yeah, that's shared.
That's shared, okay.
Did you say 115 or 100?
158, 158.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
158, yep. And the maximum occupancy is based on the code calculation, the building code calculation.
So it looks like 152 required per Sean's representation there, and so it's 6. I was wrong, it was not 3, it was 6.
152 per code, and per your calculations, you need 102. Is that?
That's just what we like to have
Like
just
to
from a
have.
business perspective, so that we can make sure that we're good neighbors, good tenants, and serving
You're
our
not parking on
members.
the street or anything like
Exactly.
that. Or parking in the Ice Palace or anything like that. Right.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Yes, Mr. Mpemba, sorry.
No, I was really just going to address that other issue. I think, like he said, I don't think there's a lot of traffic that really gets generated at any given time, but there's also another, access egress from there. So I think if it became an issue, before it became an issue, people would just go out the other way and take a left at the lights.
Right,
You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
I don't.
Naturally
it has
taking it.
two almost as equivalent or as convenient, it's virtually, it's such a small difference between the amount of time it would take to take that. I don't think it would really affect anything, you know what I mean? I don't think it'd be necessary.
Yeah,
If I may, the other thing to keep in mind, right, when you take that left, I think the only time that most of our members would take that left if they were heading to the highway after a workout and going to work. So I will not say none of our members do that. A lot of our members go straight home after their workout. It's just the demographic that we serve. We sort of serve the more introductory member, gym member. So they're not generally showering and going to work. They're going and working out and going home. If you look at our member plots, most of that membership comes from the residential area, which of course would be right toward Francis Wyman or back toward, the mall area.
But my gut feeling is that you're going to, given your geographic location, now you're going to draw a lot of people from the Bedford side.
Yep.
of things. So you'll probably get a fair amount of people going. You're probably going to get a clientele that you normally
have
wouldn't
before.
travel
Hope so.
to the other location.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I'm a member as well,
Yeah.
since its inception, I believe.
Yeah.
It's virtually the same distance for me, but I think you're going to get another whole group of demographics that you probably wouldn't get.
I would say, just for transparency, I have worked in that plaza for a number of years, so that's why I'm very familiar with taking that left with traffic. And what you have to do is you have to stick your nose out a little bit to make sure that no one's coming down. And people, when they see the green light, and if anybody's traveled it, when you see the green light, you're booting it to make sure you hit the green light and you're not getting stuck there. So, and that's difficult when you're going to have more people come to that plaza and sticking their nose out there to even take a right, not only taking a left. So just to give you some background on where my
Where'd you work?
I worked at the Star. I was the head cashier there when I worked in the deli and threw some carriages back in the Minebrook.
Yeah, but Betty Crocker probably would.
Betty Crocker Pie Shop after work, of course.
Betty Crocker Pie Shop.
Okay. So a lot of discussion on it. So if everybody's okay with, we want to take that internally to see if there's something that we can do at that intersection with regard to what Member Covino, I'll go to Member Covino in just a second as well for any more comment. He made that great recommendation over 62 Wilmington Road and Cambridge Street intersection up at, is it Chestnut Street, Ernie?
I think you're right.
Right, Chestnut Street over there?
Yes, Chestnut and Wilmington Road.
Chestnut and Wilmington Road, if we go there, kind of check that out and see, and again, we have to repaint it, and maybe that's something we can talk to engineering as well, because that was a condition of that approval there. Any other comments? Mr. Covino?
No, I think I'm all set. It might be interesting to see, Bill, what the accident statistics are there? I mean, I know it's difficult getting out of there sometimes, but is it actually creating accidents, or is it just our perception?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Whatever.
Ask our safety officer on that. Okay. And that would help maybe with engineering to see if we, how bad we need that.
Mr. Chairman, I will definitely follow up on this.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
So I'll take a motion if anybody wants to make a motion here.
Mr. Chair, I'm confused, though, as to how we're conditioning this.
Yep. So we can, if you want to make a motion to, I'm comfortable to say, leave it to staff because it's not
Okay.
to the applicant. I'd like it to be, to hold off a little bit, but if the rest of the board is saying, let's move it and let's address it ourselves.
Mr. Chairman, there is somebody with their hand raised
Oh, okay.
online, and so I'm gonna send a request to unmute.
Great.
Okay, they're unmuted now. Please state your name.
Hi. My name is Sarah Roselle. I'm a resident on Bedford Street near this location, and I received a notice about attending the meeting if I had questions.
Great, welcome. Any question at all?
Thank you. So as noted by some of the members here, there are 2 crosswalks already in place, but I would like to note that there are no sidewalks connecting that crosswalk to the property of interest. And in fact, if my suspicions are correct, a lot of your clientele will be coming from the apartment complex, which is further down the road, and there are no crosswalks from that perspective over in that intersection. So I'm really concerned about pedestrian traffic in the area, given the lack of continuous sidewalks where the crosswalks are, as well as my second point being that as a resident on Bedford Street, individuals who have to make a left onto Middlesex Turnpike Extension, that is not a protected left, and it therefore backs up traffic extensively down Bedford Street, making it difficult for residents to get in and out along the street.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Roselle. Those are great comments. Staff, any feedback to those comments at all? Board members, yeah?
I have just clarification. So you're saying that what you would be looking for, one of the things you're looking for, would be a crosswalk at the exit that's actually on Middlesex Turnpike, closer to the mall side.
Is it Birch Street right there?
Across, what is the name of that?
Daniel is the closest cross street.
Thank you.
Yeah, Daniel
So
Drive.
Is that what you meant?
I'm saying that that is a common location for individuals trying to cross the street into the complex for Dunkin', and there's no crosswalk there. And part of the reason is that there's absolutely no way to get, other than to cut through the landscaping, to get to the intersection where there is a crosswalk at the light. So there's really not a lot of pedestrian safety in that area.
Yes, staff, please.
So I can tell you just, so I do see, so I could just say for one thing that I know for a fact that the engineering department does not approve of mid-block crosswalks because they are generally unsafe. So if she's proposing a crosswalk midway along Middlesex Turnpike Extension that isn't at an intersection, that is something that that Tom Hayes and engineering would probably not agree to. As far as this intersection, I think is, so the Citizens Bank is not part of this property, is not part of this application.
Right.
No, I'm not concerned about the Citizens Bank. I'm concerned about the fact that that sidewalk ends right there at the crosswalk, and you are cutting through landscaping to then cut across a parking lot. And there's absolutely no way to get into the property from a crosswalk.
Yeah.
That is something to talk to the engineering department about. Again,
That's town-owned property then, right?
the sidewalk is town-owned, but the access into the Citizens Bank, that's not part of this application.
Is it
So
the same owner?
No, it is not.
But there's no access into this property of interest either.
So that,
Is
again,
there?
Steph?
From a pedestrian standpoint, not at this time. Caleb, can you zoom out a little bit? Can you zoom out to,
If you go down a little bit towards the
no,
apartments.
so what you're asking for is a walkway from that crosswalk into the site. Okay, I understand what you're asking for. So again, I think it's something that we need to talk to the property owner about. I don't know if we can, if we can have the tenant kind of speak to this.
Well, you said it's a different property owner too, right?
I can,
No.
Where the bank is a different property
where
owner.
the bank
Liz.
is a different property owner. This property,
I think, and if I can ask Ms. Rosell, so you're also concerned is for folks coming from, let's say, Lord Barron and walking up where there are no sidewalks on either side and then crossing over to use the facility?
Which they currently do now, going to and from Duncan, which is perfectly their right, but I think we're creating an unsafe situation there, and I understand that mid-street crosswalks may not be ideal, but I really think we've got a public safety issue because this is a highly foot-trafficked area,
Yeah, it's a natural.
and this is going to become more highly foot-trafficked.
Yeah.
so it is, the application that's before us is for just this property. Burlington Equitable Limited Partnership also owns the property that the Citizens Bank is on, and, I think that, this is something that we need to talk to, the property owner needs to attend to, I don't feel like,
Okay.
the
And I
boundary.
think it's even kind of a bigger question, because with Lord Barron, right, with
Right.
folks that are coming up there to Dunkin' Donuts, you make an excellent point, Ms. Rosell, where you've got a lot of folks coming up there, and they're just haphazardly crossing, but there's going to be a natural path that they're taking. Do we know if there's any plans for sidewalks on Middlesex Turnpike at all?
I am not,
Extension.
the extension, I am not, I'm not sure, I can get that information from Tom Hayes, but I don't have that information.
And I understand, sorry,
Yeah,
Mr.
please,
Chair, that
please,
I
Ms.
understand engineering's point that it's not ideal to have crosswalks mid-block.
They happen.
But it's probably better than nothing.
Right. And, for example, we have one on Cambridge Street over across from the Mercedes, where
We do.
it's a pedestrian-activated light, and where those tend to be effective because it's a flashing light, not all the time when you see it. But if it's a natural crossing, then we should probably address that.
So I think these are excellent points, Mr. Chair, and I think we should probably follow up on these with engineering and staff, but I'm not sure that we can really condition this application with any of this because it's outside of his control.
Yeah, I always challenge you on that, Ms. Lou, because then when do you address it with the owner? Except when you have a particularly large applicant coming in that will certainly be a benefit to the owner. But we're all in favor of this.
Yeah.
But I think Ms. Rosell makes an excellent point. And
Right.
when do you do that? Because in my experience on the board from a number of years, it never happens because there's no time that the owner will actually come up for any other
Right.
reason
I think
besides
the
tearing the building
concern
down.
is that it might be the town side that holds it up.
On that, through you, Mr. Gaffney, so this is both a special permit and a minor engineering change to codify the site plan.
Site plan, but just codifying it.
So, I think that, from what I understand, nobody has concerns with the special permit. The issue is that, we need to have this, the site plan, the site plan review, needs to be a little tighter. And so,
Would it be,
Please.
Chair, would it be possible for us to approve the special permit so that the applicant could start the process and then we could do a more extensive site plan review with the property owner?
Unfortunately not. The property owner is not adding additional square footage, therefore they don't meet the level of a full site plan review. So you know, it's very unfortunate that the property owner is not able to be here today. But I do, you know, I really would like to kind of speak to Tom Hayes, look at the options, talk to the property owner because he does also own the Citizens Bank property.
So we can't demand that he do an entire site plan review, but we could certainly invite him in for a conversation and make requests for the benefit of his business and his property.
Yes, I would caution you to separating
Yes.
the two applications.
I agree.
I would say.
But I think there's certainly no harm in reaching out to the property owner who has this wonderful opportunity with a new tenant, and hopefully the property owner will want to improve the site and make it safe for this new tenant's customers.
Yes, yes. I think I would, you know, from a staff perspective, I would like to reach out and maybe set up a Zoom call or something with the
Sure.
property owner, just chat about it, and so we're all on the same page.
Okay, so do we have a motion? And thank you, Ms. Roselle. Any other comments?
Yes.
Sorry, just from Ms. Roselle, just if you have any other comments.
Sorry. Yep.
Just, sorry, I'm really on a public safety point of view, is that left turn off of Bedford Street onto Middlesex Turnpike Extension. Bedford Street has become quite the thoroughfare, and that's not a protected left. And I know that it's Route 62, but it is something that we need to consider as we are changing traffic patterns. I realize Planet Fitness doesn't think they're going to change it that much, but that intersection backs up, and it does affect those of us who live along Bedford Street, because we can't get in and out of driveways.
Okay.
So that's something we could address with engineering as well. Maybe there need to be adjustments to the light.
Yes, and again, the process with MassDOT and how that works, I know, it's many layers.
Okay.
Yeah, so just for the applicant, Ms. Roselle, because it's a state road, Burlington unfortunately doesn't control that, and you have to go through MassDOT, which is, with all the roads that they have, it becomes a bit more bureaucratic.
I just appreciate that we're going to have a conversation about it, because I think it's important that, again, at this moment in time where we've got the possibility of this new tenant and bringing great new business to this area, that we do take the opportunity to think about the impacts on the particular location.
No,
So thank you.
Excellent points. Thank you very, very much for your input. I think it was excellent. Mr. Covino, did you have an additional comment?
I did, Mr. Chairman, and that is, it's a good point that Mr. Roselle brought up, where there's really no access into this site from the end of that sidewalk. I don't see much of a problem, unless staff does, with conditioning the special permit on making sure that there's a defined path through the landscaping, either hot top or concrete or whatever, into at least the parking lot, so that people can don't have to slush through the snow or whatever, or walk through the bark mulch or whatever to get from the end of the sidewalk into the parking lot, and unless I'm not seeing something to staff anyways.
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
So I would not feel comfortable conditioning anything regarding, you know, the site plan itself, the overall, you know, property. I know, I feel like, you know, we can ask the applicant for, you know, condition the special permit for planters in front of their tenant space. But as far as the overall site plan, we do not have the property owner here. And so I would be cautious of doing that at this point. Thank you.
I was thinking that in order to meet the conditions of the special permit, where, you know, health and safety of the neighborhood and whatever, that would be one.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That would not be an expensive addition.
No, I don't think so.
A little path.
I agree. I don't think so either. But I mean, we're speaking about a site where the property is not present.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, I think this has been a really good conversation. I have a great bullet list, and we're going to have a great conversation. And Ms. Roselle, you know, really great comments. Thank you for being our eyes and ears in the neighborhood
Yeah,
here.
that's great.
So,
So do we continue then? I mean, this is a fairly, I think, serious conversation that we're having on that, and again, thanks to the resident for the input there. So do we pause this and we just continue it until the owner is here to talk about the site plan with regard to safety and traffic? Yeah?
Mr. Chair,
It's up to the.
is
it's up
it
to the-
possible, is there a drawback to voting on the special permit and continuing the site plan? Because it's the site plan that we need the property owner for, correct?
that's correct.
Unless we're conditioning the special permit.
The other,
Yeah.
so the special permit specifically cites the plan, the site plan.
Okay, it does.
And
Okay.
so, I don't want us to get into a pickle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So would it be the recommendation of staff that we continue?
Unfortunately, I don't like, and it's not my, it's never ideal, but at this point, I think it does make the most sense. I think we'd like, it has nothing to do with the tenant.
Great.
And they've been wonderful to work with.
Yes.
Even,
Thank you.
from the beginning, since 2023, you guys have been wonderful to work with, very responsive. So it has nothing to do with that, but, the property, we need to kind of, there are some things that just need to be tightened up here. And I don't think it'll be without, we can, talk to them next week and kind of work it out at much more ahead of time.
Yeah,
So that we are, we're all on the same page, so that hopefully we can be really quick next week in doing this. And we can even, if you agree, Mr. Chairman, we could put this at the beginning of the agenda next week as well.
That'd be
Or next week, next
Next meeting,
meeting.
which is June 6th, which, just for the resident, the next meeting that we'd have, since it appears that we'll continue this, will be June 6th, and we'll put it on the first part of the meeting, which will be around 7 o'clock, if you care to attend as well. So I personally appreciate you attending, and with you attending and commenting on that, it hopefully gives others that are residents, the confidence that, speaking up on these things is a benefit to the town in general. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And Planet Fitness, nothing against you at all. I just want to make sure that we've got safe kiddos, safe people, and safe users of your facility.
Great.
Yeah, now you have to join as a Black Card member, though. That's the only. Thank you.
I already looked up your prices tonight, I'm not going to lie.
Thank you. Any other comments from members?
Yeah, one more, Mr. Chairman.
Sure, Ernie.
And that is, it looks like we're going to continue it, and could we take this opportunity also to find out what's going on, if anything, with sidewalks on the Middlesex Turnpike extension, so at least we'll have that information for the future.
Yes.
I have a laundry list, Member Covino, so thank you. Yes, absolutely. We're gonna do a deep dive.
Yeah, and I think that goes along with what we did previously with the Ferguson and the sidewalks
Yes.
along Terrace Hall, because of, a lot of people are walking down there, and as the resident said, a lot of people are walking up the Middlesex Extension to get to Dunkin's from kind of the same neighborhood. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand, so I think it's not a bad idea.
Are you ready for a motion?
I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to continue this public hearing to the planning board meeting of June 6th, 2024.
Second?
Gaffney?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
LaRue?
Yes.
Impemba?
Yes.
Covino?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Continue to June 6th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, members, and thank you, as always, Liz and Caleb. You guys are amazing.
Okay. All right. That took a little bit longer than anticipated, but we'll move on to item 7L. 7L is a public hearing for an application of approval for a special permit pursuant to 4.2.6.9 fast order food establishments of the zoning bylaw 101 Middlesex Turnpike. Tate Holdings LLC is the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, Attorney Mark Vaughn with Riemer Bronstein, representing the applicant Tate in connection with this application. Have Brendan Boyle, who is with Tate, that is participating remotely here. He couldn't be here, unfortunately, but he is joining, and I know he'll have an opportunity to speak and to tell you a little bit about Tate. But Tate is a restaurant operator that is focused in Mediterranean and European influenced food. They view themselves to be a elegant comfort food destination, cafe, restaurant. They have locations in the Boston area as well as in the Washington, D.C. Metro area. Most of their Boston area locations are in the city. They have select suburban locations such as Wellesley and Belmont, new location at Assembly Row as well. I think this would be their first location out in this area that they're looking to open. So the property obviously is the property at 101 Middlesex Turnpike, the Burlington Square property. I still call this site the Tower Records site, as I'm sure many of you are familiar with the history of Tower Records being the tenant that is in, actually they're in the same space that Tate is looking to actually occupy, that corner space that has been vacant most recently. Most recently was occupied by Piara Salon, if board members might recall, and now the property owner, who's also here and part of the companion application for Brixmor, can speak to, but that space has been vacant for some time and has had some challenges. So again, we had a little slide deck, if we could maybe quickly walk through it, and I see Brendan there, but yeah.
Get that up for you one
Sure.
more.
But the application obviously is for a special permit. The restaurant, it's funny, we had a little bit of trouble determining whether it was fast order food or a traditional restaurant under the zoning bylaw, because it's a bit of a hybrid, to be honest with you. Again, it's known as elegant comfort food in that technically you do order at a counter, but if you're dining in, the food is brought to your table and it's served on china. But there's obviously a takeout component as well. So a little bit unique in that regard. But so, yeah, again, this is the site here. I think you're familiar with, obviously, this location. So Middlesex Turnpike running along the left-hand side there. And then this particular spot is yeah, right there. Thank you, Caleb. In terms of that's the former Tower Records portion of the building. This is just give you a little bit of handle on the site. Again, this is part of the minor engineering change application that's also been submitted, but the restaurant would occupy the corner that's inside there, facing the parking lot. There would be a new patio that would be provided for 36 exterior patio seats in that location, and that corner would be the Tate space, and there'd be a couple of new doors provided on each end of the corner, if you would, to provide access, which hopefully you can see on the next plan. We have the floor plan as well, which helps to show the layout of the site. Again, the site would, the space would have 154 seats inside and 36 seasonal patio seats as well for outdoor dining. The gray area on that floor plan is the kitchen area, back of house if you would, and then the seating element is, as you can see, spread out through the remainder of the space. So, Brendan, I might have, if you don't mind, maybe you could talk a little bit about Tate and maybe make reference to some of these representative photos and images, just to maybe help the board understand a little bit better about your operation, and I know your excitement about locating here in Burlington.
Sure, yeah, thanks everybody, and thanks for hearing us tonight. Brendan Boyle, Vice President of Development for Tate. Yeah, so Tate's absolutely thrilled to be coming to Burlington. We've been looking around Burlington for a number of years for a site that makes sense, and finally hooked up with Brixmor for this wonderful opportunity. And so, yeah, Tate, as you described, Mark, is we call ourselves a elevated fast casual brand, elegant comfort food. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So all our pastries and treats that you see here in front of you, those are all made at our centralized facility in South Boston, Massachusetts, and delivered daily to our cafes. And so plenty of morning opportunities at the pastry bar. We have a curated beverage and coffee selection that's showcased at our barista bar. And then we also have a full-service kitchen with a chef at every location. So we have a pretty deep menu of Mediterranean-inspired dishes. And our interior design is a lot of white tile, kind of a blank background to kind of showcase our food, is how we like to think of it. And a smattering of antiques. You can notice in this picture, this is from our location at Summer Street in Boston. We like to source sort of authentic fixtures and furnishings throughout our cafes, and really just kind of a clean, simple, relaxing place for folks to come and enjoy. And we're really thrilled to be bringing Tatte to Burlington. This is a couple of representative examples of facades we've done in the past. On the left is Fenway, and the right is Pier 4. Our typical signage is, understated and directly lit. And this is a rendering of the exterior of the building, sort of as conceived with a reskinning of the building that's being considered under a separate application.
This is just the other angle of that building if you're looking at it from Middlesex Turnpike. So that portion of the site there will be the subject of a separate special permit application for a different restaurant that will be coming in. But again, we just wanted to show you that angle, and you can see Tatte on the right-hand side of that as well. So, so yeah, that's the application. I know Tatte is very excited about the opportunity to locate at this plaza. Obviously, it's been a vacant space for quite some time. It's not going to be occupying the totality of that vacant space that Piara was in. It's actually going to be, I think, 4 different tenants that are ultimately how that space would be subdivided. That's really the application. It's a little bit awkward because some of the components of this are actually the subject of the minor engineering change as well, which we can talk about separately, but because as part of what Brixmor, the property owner, is looking to do is have a series of aesthetic and site enhancements that include pedestrian elements, the outdoor seating, the new doors, windows, if you would, for the building, and a decorative screen wall as well that's going to be running along the Middlesex Turnpike side to help block some of that more, I'm not going to say ugly, but less than pleasing back of house type elements of that side of the building. So,
Okay, thank you, Attorney Vaughn. Staff?
So staff is very pleased to see that, this site has been vacant for a while. And so we're very excited to see, a really good name come into it to enliven this area. We're really excited to see Tatte come in. There are 2 other minor engineering changes as part of this that I think we're going to speak to afterwards. At this point, there is, the property owner has been working with the Board of Health and Concom to solve the flooding issue that has been in the back corner forever. They are proposing to raise that parking lot area where it floods and do compensatory flood storage adjacent to it. And as a result, they're going to have to lose about 3 parking spaces. We're still waiting on Concom approval for that. There's one minor engineering change has to deal with the flooding issue. There's another minor engineering change that just has to do with the external renovations for the new tenants that might be coming in here that we're really excited to see. They're going to put a lot of money into facade changes, upgrades, really updating the site, outdoor seating. It'll be really nice in this area. This is also, just so you guys know, this is an area that, so the Staples building is going to be, is part of the MBTA Communities Overlay District. So that, if that were to pass town meeting, that is part of this, that is the same property ownership. The other thing is, as part of, an effort to really enhance the pedestrian environment in this area, working with Melissa Tantakoulis and really trying to make Mall Road, Middlesex Turnpike, it's really meant for cars, but we also want to include people there, people being able to walk from the Huntington and the Tremont down, grab some breakfast at Tate, that type of thing. So we're looking for some type of, looking at, a creative solution to connect the site to the greater pedestrian network. Thank you. Member LaRue, network is the word I was looking for. So, but I think that as far as we're concerned, we're on our way there. There's been a lot of progress. This is not an easy site. I totally recognize that. Ultimately, we're really excited that the property owner is taking the time to do all this. But we want to make sure that everything matches up on our end so that we can say, go ahead, go run. So that's kind of where we stand on that. That's all I have on that, Member Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Liz. So why don't we start with the fellow board members, and let's just focus just on the special permit for the restaurant today, because we'll follow on with items M and N with the minor engineering changes. So let me start with Member Impemba.
I don't have any questions or concerns. I think it's a great addition. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Member Sutherland?
I'm excited to have this option in town. I think this will be an excellent addition. You had mentioned that the pastries get delivered every day. How will you be handling delivery in an already tight area? Will it be a big?
They're delivered on a 60.
This is Brendan, go ahead.
Yes, yeah, this is Brendan. They're delivered on a 16-foot box truck with a lift gate. So they'll pull into the lot, drop the racks down on the lift gate, and bring them in, directly inside the facility. That happens each morning at around 5 a.m.
5 a.m., thank you.
Then do you mind going back to the outside rendering real quick? Because the current state does not have extra, okay, so there's the sidewalk along the side. That was my, one of my questions. And my only other comment, which I think we'll continue to discuss in the next item, is the pedestrian access, because that is a major, I think, concern and issue for me especially if there's going to be, which I know is irrelevant to the special permit, but just knowing the future enhancements, which I'm excited about, in order to really enable the success of this business, the pedestrian access will be very important.
Okay, thank you, Member Sutherland. Member LaRue?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have lots of questions that are site plan related. For the special permit, I'm curious to know what the hours of operation will be.
The hours of operation will be 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday.
Okay,
Thank you. And my other questions are all site plan related.
thank you, Member LaRue. Member Covino?
Nothing on the special permit. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Member Covino. I am too excited about Tate coming to Burlington. I agree with Member Sutherland. My experience with Tate is that you will have a lot of folks that are coming in, particularly ones up from the Third Ad area coming down for some reference, and others that will be coming down from the other side that will be revisiting as well. But and those folks, knowing kind of nature, maybe even some Lifetime Fitness will be coming down that will be walking down. So we think our greatest strategy is to get sidewalks in there, because these folks aren't the ones that are shy to walk, a little bit, to get the exercise, have some breakfast, hang out a while. I think this is really a good fit, but we as a town need to make pedestrian access there. This is really going to initiate that, and my experience with them, delicious food, and I think it's going to really draw in a lot of folks that are going to be walking, they're going to be biking to this particular site. My specific questions are with regard to the number of seats. My experience with Tate is that, and maybe it's more Boston-related, is that they tend, I don't recall them seeing like over 100 seats inside of it. For the next meeting, could you provide maybe a couple of examples of, and we don't need to do this now, but for next time, the number of seats that you might have in Belmont, the number of seats you might have in Wellesley, and maybe a couple of your selection of the ones that are downtown Boston? Maybe there's one Summer Street, or maybe the one near Fenway, kind of two different examples of the Boston ones. I know it's going to be different, but the Belmont and the Wellesley ones might be similar. Typically, what I see at Tate is that folks are getting either the morning treats, which are delicious for sure, or lunchtime, and people tend to stay a long time. Putting out the computer, maybe even working at these places, and very much relaxing. So it's not necessarily, I wouldn't categorize it as a fast casual, because it's fast to get the food, but people tend not to leave fast. It's not like a quick turnover that you might see in other places, just my opinion on that. A comment on the landscaping around there. I do see bollards that are on the south-facing side, and I would maybe recommend that those be planters instead of bollards to really kind of dress that side up on that side of the building. It looks like you have planters on the east side. Maybe you can kind of continue that around instead of pure bollards. Mrs.
I didn't see planters, so that's.
Yeah, maybe we didn't. Can you go back to the rendering, Caleb, if you wouldn't mind?
Well, he's doing that
Please,
for me.
yeah.
My concern, though, is usually with planters, you have to allow for drainage, and therefore they're not as strong as a bollard would be. If we think about this as cars are traveling at a very high rate down that road, I would be concerned about substituting the bollards from a safety perspective. But I agree, what can we do from landscaping? I would be concerned with replacing those with planters.
I don't think you have to replace them with, they have planters that have
They're
bollards
bollards.
built into
Okay.
them.
Okay.
So they look like planters, but they have a bollard hidden in them.
So I'm not sure that we see this. So you have the outside area, and then you have the area in back of it between the building. Is that a planter there to the right a little bit?
This
You want to go to the
along
right?
patio?
Right there, yeah. Oh, no, it's just a fence. Okay.
Yeah, I think that, is our architect, actually,
Oh, yeah,
that's,
you
yeah.
can-
But are those,
You can come up to the microphone. Go ahead.
the
You can come up to the microphone.
concrete,
There you go.
I think the intent was to have those as planters
Just a
with
second.
bollards in them, or?
Sorry.
Yes, the ones around the patio?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's something we're working through now.
You want to use the microphone when you kind of
Sure.
do that? Thank you.
Yeah, so the intent is to have those as maybe they're concrete planters, but there's definitely something in them that is green that'll dress up that space.
Okay, great. Sorry, that's site plan related. So, yeah, I guess mine is more the seats and get the comparisons on seats. So I think that's the only questions I had on the special permit. And this is a public.
Yeah, I can follow up with Belmont, Wellesley, and a few representative examples from Boston. It's really just a comment on that. The space that we have here is 5,000 square feet overall, which is one of our larger spaces. And that's a combination of wanting to provide for a bit of a larger kitchen, just due to anticipated volumes, and the leftover space we fill with, front of house aspects and seating. Our larger locations in Boston do have between 120 and 140 seats. But this is one of the largest in the fleet. But I'll follow up with representative examples with square footages and seating.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brendan. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public want to speak for this application or against this application? None here. Anything online?
I don't see any, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right. So any motion for the special permit or any other comments from staff? Ernie?
No, all set, thank you.
Yes.
We're good. So we made a motion to take to take all of these together. So I feel like we should probably, I think the best course of action is to continue all of the.
We didn't make that.
We didn't make that
sorry,
motion.
I'm-
We took the special permit
I'm
alone.
sorry.
That's okay.
I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Disregard everything I
Okay.
said.
So we can continue this and then move on to the site plan? Is
Yes, let's do
right?
that.
Okay, Matt, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to continue this public hearing to the planning board meeting of June 6th, 2024.
Second?
Chairman Gaffney.
Yes.
Vice Chair Sutherland.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Impemba.
Yes.
Covino.
Yes.
All right, great, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to take items 7M and 7N together for discussion purposes.
Second?
Gaffney.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Impemba.
Yes.
Covino.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. So we have items 7M and 7N. 7M is a discussion, request for approval of a minor engineering change at 101 Middlesex Turnpike. Brixmore Property Group is the applicant. And 7N is a discussion of a request for approval of a minor engineering change, 101 Middlesex Turnpike, Brixmore Property, and the applicant again. Staff, please.
So I think I kind of jumped the gun and spoke a little bit of, I think I kind of went over this earlier. So again, we're very excited about, the tenant that's potentially coming in with a tenant and, again, with restaurants and, it's a multi-tenant space. There could be more restaurants. We don't know. We hope so. We want this to be super successful. One of the things that we wanted to make sure of is that the parking is going to work. So there's the parking memo that they have provided that, and we're gonna cross-check it and do all that. I've read one portion of that. I've read an earlier portion, but I think they've updated it since then. So we're gonna dive into that. But again, the Concom has not voted on this yet. But again, parking and pedestrian access. We just want to make sure this site works because it's a super prominent site in town, and we're looking to do a lot of zoning changes and kind of investment in this area, just from a town perspective as well. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
No, that's great. There's a lot to it, so thank you. We'll go over to board members. This time, let me start off with Member Curvino.
Just an information question. Is this whole site owned by Brixmore, or is the area where Wendy's is and whatever owned by somebody else?
That, if I could, Mr. Chairman, this portion of the site's all owned by Brixmore, where the Staples building is, the building that's the subject of the Tate application, and also the building where Golf Galaxy and Liberty Travel have been. Those three buildings are all owned by Brixmore. The other portion of the site is owned by a separate property owner where Wendy's and, God, I forget what the tenants are in there now, but Duluth Trading, right. But there's,
Orange Theory.
Yeah.
but there's obviously cross-access easements between the properties, so, but technically that other building is separately owned, Ernie.
Perfect. Let's go back and, if you wouldn't mind, sorry, Ernie, if you wouldn't mind describing these minor engineering changes.
Yeah, if I could. May I allow Mark Newman, who's with Brixmore, maybe to just pull up Mark, would you be able to pull up the...
Sure. Can I share, or Caleb, did you have the...
Mark, you should be able to have access at the bottom of your screen. You should be able to share.
Okay.
If you have any trouble.
Give me 1 second here.
Yep.
If you don't mind. Okay. Don't think it's working yet. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Can everybody see the
Yes.
the aerial photo?
Yep.
Yeah, great.
There we go, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make it a little smaller so you can see the property in context. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Newman with Brixmore Property Group, and very excited to be here tonight. We've been working for a long time on this property, this space. So this is our shopping center, Burlington Square. It's these 3 buildings in this oddly configured piece of land right here. This space right here, this 12,000 square foot space that was occupied by Pyara Salon, has been vacant for 4 years. It became vacant in May 2020, and we've had a challenging time finding the appropriate tenants to backfill the space. We're so excited to be bringing Tate to the center and working with them on the project. We're also proposing another restaurant in the front position. We're literally days away from signing a lease, and I'm very excited to be sharing who that tenant will be with you. I could probably announce it now. It's Kava Grill would be taking the space in the front. And I'm going to move this down one more slide so you can see. I'm going to actually go 2 slides down so you can see the split up of the space. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
So this is the space, and how we're proposing to subdivide it is to put Kava in here at around 2,400 square feet, Tate in here at around 5,000 square feet, and then the remainder of the space, we're putting a yoga studio in right here, and this space is vacant. We're, it's spec retail space yet to be leased.
Mark, excuse me, could you just increase the size of that just for a bit?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
There we go, thank you, yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
That's great.
So, that's essentially it. It's a 12,000 square foot space, been chronically vacant. We're basically breaking it up into 4 spaces. And as part of that, and in order really to attract tenants of the caliber of Tate and Kava, we are making some very small changes to the property. We're adding a new sidewalk here along the front that will connect Tate and Kava to the overall parking lot. We're adding 2, sorry, let me scroll this down a little bit. We're adding 2 patios, 1 patio right here for Kava, 1 patio right here for Tate. There's going to be a slight revision to the driveway coming in to facilitate this sidewalk here, this 8-foot sidewalk, which is new. There's also going to be over here, next to the patio where Kava is, there's going to be another sidewalk added here, which goes all the way, there's nothing there right now. It's going to be a sidewalk that goes out here to an area where trucks could load and unload for the tenants here. And there's also going to be, we're putting up a screening wall. It's a decorative screening wall, and I'm going to, before I sort of mangle the description of it, I'm going to let my architect describe it in more detail in a minute. He'll do a much better job. But the plan also, besides doing these minor engineering changes, besides making these minor changes to the site, is to do a facade renovation. Let me show you the area that's going to be renovated. Hold on. So the facade renovation would be for all 4 sides of this building here, as well as really all the sides here of the second building. We're not affecting this building right now because Staples has about 5 more years of lease term yet, and then, the future remains uncertain as to what we end up doing with this building. Just to give you a sense as to how it looks today, there's no sidewalk there today. You've got, because of the soils and a variety of other reasons, the building has always had, additional utilities on Middlesex Turnpike on the back side of the building. And the screening wall is going to cover all of that. And I'm going to, so there's one more photo of it. This is what the facade renovation is going to look like. And I am going to hand it off in a minute to Mike Cornoni, our architect, to just walk you through that, because I'm not going to do it justice. Mike, you like to take over?
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Mark.
I could work through the screens if you want.
Okay. Yeah, so what we're trying to do with these 2 buildings is really unify them and kind of make them a lot more visually appealing than they are now, as you can see from the existing images. So we're bringing in a lot of different materials here that kind of can play off of each other. We have the nice Tate facade that's really white, and the Kava, which is a little more darker, and we're bringing in some wood tones that we're introducing to all the pop-ups that we're creating on each of the corners. Mark, you can go to the next one. And we're keeping the two tower features that are there now. So this is just an image of showing how the two towers are still relating to each other. So they're becoming a little bit more modernized. And then this is an image as you're turning in off Middlesex Turnpike, and Mark alluded to the screen wall earlier. So this is just a small preview of the screen wall, and we're putting that up behind Cava's patio. So we're really trying to block the back of the building. And then here's a view of Tate, which you saw in the previous one, and this is really what we're trying to continue down the rest of the facade too. Now this is building 1, I believe, and so we're doing.
Yeah, sorry, I'll go back.
Yep, go back. Yeah, just flip back one, yep.
That's where Blaze Pizza is there currently.
Yes.
Yep.
So what we're creating are these pop-ups on all of the corners of both of these buildings, and we're trying to introduce this warm wood tone and really unify everything. Another thing that we're doing here is really trying to create a sense of place with lighting. So each of these pop-ups will be lit internally. We're going to have wall sconces along every column and pier to really kind of energize the center. And then the last two images here are of the screen wall. So what we're proposing here is a 15-foot screen wall that covers the entire back facade. And we have a mixture of materials here. We're doing some horizontal wood slats, and then we're also doing green walls. So this will be sort of a mesh, and then we're working with landscape architects to come up with vines that can grow up these and really turn them green. And then above that is actually internally lit signage cabinets. And Mark, if you go to the next one, I think it's a little easier to see. But what we're trying to do is create a really unified signage along this Middlesex Turnpike. So each of these will be lit, or you're seeing in white. So it'll be an aluminum cover over that signage cabinet. And so each of these will really be much more uniform.
Yeah, I think that's it. The couple of things that I did not mention, I want to go back to the site plan for a minute. We're also going to be adding a pedestrian crosswalk right over here, which is going to be, if I'm correct, and my engineer could tell me if I'm wrong, it's going to be a nice stamped concrete material that connects it sort of does a better job than what we're doing today of connecting the two buildings here. We're also adding, you can't see it in this plan, but we're adding some additional traffic stop signs and slowing the traffic up here as cars are coming in. We're adding stop signs. I think we're going to be adding 2 more stop signs to what are 4 already here today. Kevin, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. And then as a separate project, and the second minor engineering change that we're pursuing today is this parking lot project here. This portion of the parking lot, and I'll go up to the aerial so you can see it. This portion right there, that rectangle right there, has, historically suffered from being low and close to the Vinebrook waterway and has flooded here. We've spent a lot of time and money trying to solve it by dredging the detention basins and trying to clean it out annually, which unfortunately hasn't changed the situation much. So our plan now is, and what we've been working with the town on for the last probably 4 months now, is a plan to lift this parking lot up about 1.5 feet to a point where the water will no longer, sit here in the flooded condition and will naturally drain down into the detention basins and into the Vinebrook waterway. Part of that requires us, because this entire property is in a flood zone, requires us to compensate for that area that we're now taking up, a cubic area that we're taking up with the lifted parking lot, by creating compensatory storage, which is essentially additional, flooding storage in this land area around, and the portion of the property, what you can see here is what little land we have left will be turned into compensatory storage. We didn't have enough land to do it all, so we're going to be losing about 4 parking spaces right there in the corner. You can see it on this next plan. And we've been working with Concom and the Board of Health on this plan. We've had, I think, 2 hearings already, or maybe 1 with the Concom, and we're scheduled to be before them May 23rd to continue our application. And that's essentially this project. It's really, at the end of the day, backfilling a vacancy, a chronic vacancy, making some enhancements to the site, and bringing what we believe is much-needed facade renovation to the forefront. It's the center is in, we believe, dire need of updating, and this is just a great opportunity to bring the center up to par with the rest of the centers in this market. That's essentially the project.
All right, thank you. Mark, anything additional from your side?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I think
great.
Mark did a good job of summarizing it. So we're hopeful that we have had a couple of hearings, maybe 2 or 3 actually, with conservation on the flood storage compensation element, and I think we're hopeful that next week might be the last one, since we are now meeting their goal of providing the 100% compensatory flood storage. So,
Great, thank you. I thought that was a great presentation. It's a lot, and I would agree that, you know, the Tate and your other tenant is going to bring a lot of new traffic and customers to that particular site. So let me try again with Ernie, now that we have the details of that. Member Covino, any comments now that you've seen the changes?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of questions. Since these are 2 separate owners, I assume there's shared parking, whether on purpose or by mistake. Are there any shared parking agreements, Mark? And so when you go to assign parking spaces to your 2 new restaurants here, we'll know what you're talking about? Or how do you prepare to handle that?
That's a very good question. First of all, there is a shared parking agreement. There is a cross-access agreement between us and the neighboring shopping center. It's been in place since the center was, I think, first developed. But our parking analysis and the parking study that we did really just rested on the strength of our own parking. And I'll let our engineer present that. It's really the one thing that we didn't present. Part of our application tonight, besides the minor engineering changes, the shared parking reduction that's required to bring in these change of uses. You know, restaurants have a different parking requirement than the salon that was here before. So the parking requirement, your code requires us to seek parking relief. The study that we did basically shows that on our site, and I'll let them get into more detail here, that it's been a historically underutilized site. I think parking, the study that they did was in December 1st, during the holiday season on a Saturday, midday at noon, I think, and the parking on our center only was only being utilized at 32%. Just to give you a sense of the amount of parking, use that is happening today. And I'll let Kevin and Caroline speak to the study itself. But the parking study supports the relief that we're asking for. And I'll hand it off to them to describe it further. I don't want to mangle that either.
Hi, I can start. So my name's Caroline. I'm here representing Kinley Horn in association with Brixmor concerning this project, both for the Conservation Commission that's being reviewed for the flooding mitigation and also for the parking study. So for the parking study, just because Mark very aptly leaded right into it, we did a 3-pronged approach. So first was going ahead and going out there and doing parking counts during peak times, specifically on the first week of December, the busiest month of the, or one of the busiest months of the year, on Saturday during peak hours, so specifically around noon, and taking parking counts of how the parking was utilized. The other one was looking at aerial images of how the parking has been utilized in the past based off of when it was fully occupied, or at least mostly fully occupied, and seeing how that has been done in the past as well. And the third one was doing a parking study consisting of, looking at the ITE parking generation manual, the 5th edition, and calculating basically how much parking was needed, looking at mixed use. So specifically, there's multiple different uses inside this that's being used with this plan. So there's a Staples, there's multiple different restaurants, there's exercise gyms, things like that, and all of them have different peak hours for when you expect the most people to need parking. So we threw that all into the model and into graphs, and then basically analyzed during the biggest peak, what is the parking that is required. And with that, we are still under. Or we are meeting the requirements or exceeding it. And so that's a short summary of what the parking study says.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Pacino?
No, thank you. Nothing else right now, other than obviously, or maybe not obviously, but some connection to the public sidewalk to the shopping center would be appreciated, but I think that's already been said. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'd like to real quickly just address the sidewalk. We have been looking at it, and we would like, first of all, let me take a half a step back and say, when we were looking at this site in sort of the macro, we were looking at how we might redevelop this. There's all sorts of issues with this land. It's in a floodplain. It's next to wetlands. The soil condition isn't appropriate for construction. There's a lot of things that made it, in our opinion, not the right moment to do a wholesale redevelopment of the property. We do think there's going to be an opportunity when the Staples building, when the lease turns in about 5 years. They're out of option, and we're having conversations with the municipality about the ongoing rezoning effort here. And let me just shout out to the town that they've been so inclusive and have reached out to us numerous times to seek our thoughts on it and include us in the process. It's been great. Because right now we're dealing with this, where this building's close to 40% vacant, because of the cost of having to do the facade renovation and the minor engineering changes, as well as the parking lot fix, which is huge, with the compensatory storage component added to it. We're really desirous to get these tenants going. And we think that the sidewalk conversation is a very important one, but we think it's going to tie it into what you're trying to do here in this corridor, I think is going to require a little time and some thought. It's complicated too if I may show you, and I might pull it up on Google Earth to give you a better sense, but when you're at that, one of the thoughts was maybe you could take this crosswalk here that connects to, you sort of lands here in front of your property and then it goes nowhere. Maybe you could create some sort of a connection to your center. We don't think that's a bad idea, but the problem is all of this land left of the yellow line is not our land, it's the government's land. And there is a massive 15-foot drop-off between here and the parking lot, which on Google Earth I could probably show you, but it makes creating a connection to the parking lot a little more of a complicated project from an engineering standpoint that would require potential retaining walls. It would require a zigzag ADA ramp, or it could possibly require us to connect to more sidewalk. We think that we should continue this conversation with the municipality and consider tying in over here, further down, when and if we end up redeveloping that Staples building, and or possibly connecting at some other points, and or possibly connecting here where it was suggested, but we just think that that's sort of a, it's a longer term and more cost prohibitive consideration for us at this point. So I put that out there as our thought about it, doing it today.
Okay.
As part of this minor engineering change application.
Understood, thank you. Member LaRue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have a number of questions on the site plan. First of all, I'm excited to see that you're doing this. This plaza has really needed help for a while. I'm glad that you're addressing flooding problems and that you're giving a facelift to the whole site. I'm very excited to see that, and I think these new tenants are also going to be great for you and great for the whole area. Specifically, when we look at, if someone can pull up the renderings, that would be helpful. I'm curious to know what your plans are for treatment of the towers, if you're going to be having signs on the towers, if it's just going to be, because on the new rendering, there you go.
Yeah.
If your intention is to have signs on the towers?
I might hand this off to Mike Cornoni to describe it a little bit better, but the plan for this tower here is not to put any signage on it at all.
Okay.
All right? This is Tate's dedicated entrance.
Okay.
And we've worked with Tate, and they're going to have signage right here
Okay,
on the but they're not going to have signage on the tower.
okay.
Just to give you a preview, and I really don't want to talk names of tenants in a public forum until a lease is signed or until we have a further commitment, but we're working with restaurants to replace Blaze Pizza in Burlington 1 in that space to the right that you see where the other tower is. And they've made it a condition that we keep their branding, which you can kind of see, by the way, on there, because it affords them visibility to the intersection at Middlesex Turnpike and Mall Road, which was very important for them to locate here.
Okay.
So they're going to have some branding there, but there's not going to be any signage on the pop-up over here, on the tower over here.
Okay, thank you. So I agree with Member Sutherland that it would be nice if we could make the bollards, or whoever it was that brought it up, make the bollards more attractive by putting planters around them, so they still are a safety feature, but they could look pretty, and I think you could do that and tie it in with your wood accents. I really like the wood accents.
Absolutely.
That's a very nice touch. And I was also thinking the same thing regarding your outdoor seating area. It kind of looked like you had cement, a low cement wall around the seating area, I assume for safety. I'd love to see what the treatment will be on the cement wall, whether you decide to go with stamped cement, or it would be nice to have wood accents on that as well. It would tie the whole thing together. I'd just like to see what you intend to do with that.
Yeah, we could provide you that detail very easily.
Okay.
Great.
And there will be a landscaping component that I don't think we did a good enough job of illustrating tonight, but
Yes, we'd love to
there's
see
a
more of-
landscaping plan as well.
We'd love to see more of your landscaping plan. I have a question for staff. In one of the notes in our staff report is about the Blackbird Cafe. Could you, what's going on with that?
We are currently working with them. So they were tenanted a few years ago.
Yes.
And they, there's some.
They've always had, I think, 4 tables in there.
4 tables, but we want to codify it. We're working with them to make sure that everything is clear on our end, and
Okay, so it shouldn't have any impact.
No, I think we're, and they've reached out to us, and
Okay.
so we're, I think it's all good. It's all good.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. that-
Whatever seating they have, we've factored into the parking
Yeah.
analysis to
Okay.
make sure it's covered, yeah.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Member LaRue. I'll swing it over to Member Sutherland.
Will EV parking be a part of redoing this?
EV spaces
It's not planned right now.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
that's it.
That's it, thank you.
That doesn't mean that we would consider it in the future, but right now, it's not been
Okay.
proposed.
Yep, you'd have to come back to us for that anyway. And Member Impemba.
Just briefly, just curious about the outdoor seating area. Can you explain a little bit about that?
So there'd be can you bring up the site plan, Mark, on the screen there that shows the outdoor seating area? Maybe zoom in a little bit in terms of... So that's the area that would be provided for Tate there. I think there's going to be 36 seats that would be there that would be obviously seasonal, not year-round. And similarly for the other restaurant that's closer to Middlesex Turnpike, which Mark was talking about, there would be a smaller patio that would be available for outdoor seating there as well, but not as large as that. I don't know if you... Can you scroll down, Mark, and maybe show the other patio? Yeah, there's a smaller one that's located there that you can see as well, Joe.
And neither one of these restaurants serves alcohol at all, in any form, or?
No, Tate does not. I don't believe that Cava would at this location either.
I don't have any additional questions.
Thank you, Member Impembro. Okay, I've got a few. First one on the tenant not to be named. They tend to have a very strong pickup business, if you're familiar with them, in a different location the next town over. So where they're going to be located is going to be very, very difficult. I mean, if you go to their other site locally, it is a complete disaster, right? If you've been there, it's a dead-end area. It's madness. And again, a big pickup area. Do you have any plans for designated parking for pickup for that particular one, or in general in your parking?
It's a great question. So you're talking about the space, the tenant next to Tate, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Right. We are working with them to have designated pickup spaces. They're not going to be exclusive spaces, meaning that they're going to be part of the shopping center count, but they will be striped for them to have pickup. I want to say that I don't want to misspeak. I'd have to go back and double check the lease, but I believe that the spaces that we're going to put them in are going to be right here, somewhere along here.
Okay, so that would need to be part of the parking plan for us. So you can't necessarily designate parking. You'd need to put that on the plan. So, and we'd have to approve that, regardless of whether agreement have, with the tenant on that. So if that's where you're going to put, let's think about that, because what they're going to be doing is they're going to be crossing there. And it's going to be folks that aren't necessarily, are used to just quickly picking up. So if, at the next meeting, let us know where you're going to be with your proposed short-term parking, and we'll have to...
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. That's the first thing. Second thing, do you have something that you've already done previously locally with that screening wall, so we can see what one would look like that you've already done? And you have to tell me now, but if you happen to have one locally, you can give us the address between now and June 6th, and we can go check that out.
We haven't, Brixmor has not yet done this. I'd like to, we've had a lot of conversations about it. We probably didn't describe it enough to you. It's going to have it's going to be made out of, Mike, I'm going to hand it off to you to describe it a little bit more. Well, and you might have a couple of locations in mind.
If there's something similar that you've seen around that you're going to base that off, that's all I'll ask. You don't need to give it to us now. Thank you. The third one is the signs on the wall. To me, as you're going to be going along there and seeing the signs, it's really, I would say, particularly with the known restaurant that you have, that's really not in what they would look for. They're very subdued, like you said, in their sign. Now with a long signage wall, what I would call it, what I would do is, just a recommendation, because we don't have control over signs like this, but I would try gooseneck lighting there and making the font smaller. So instead of having, sign after sign after sign that's not going to differentiate the signs, to make it a bit more distinctive sign to sign across there. That'd be my recommendation with some experience on signage in my past.
Lighting sounds great.
Gooseneck lighting, and then maybe you want to, I don't know, it's just a thought, just crazy thoughts about maybe awnings, a different color, subtle, but the same. If you're going green, maybe you do some browns, but to differentiate them, and then you have the name of the space on the awning or something to, again, break it up a little bit, because it's now just going to be a straight shot. Just a recommendation, again, in small font and distinctive, maybe distinctive font versus lit, and it looks all the same.
Now,
That's just a thought.
No, it's a good thought. We'll take it under consideration. This design, the signage was inspired by a project that we did in Pennsylvania that had sort of this, darker background with the white letters on it, and it just looked, we thought, so understated and classy, and sort of did a, right now you've got tenants have their signs on the wall there, and it looks hodgepodge. And we thought going down Middlesex Turnpike here, this would be creating something that we felt was more tasteful and consistent with some of the new architectural features that we're doing, and sort of replacing for the tenants those, the hodgepodge signs that they have now on the back of that wall, which looks pretty horrible.
Yeah, no, thank you. Understand what you're trying to do. And my intent is to say, maybe you want to break it up and have them be a bit unique, but not necessarily hodgepodge, like you said. If you could provide us with the address of the project in Pennsylvania, we'll either Google map it or have some.
It's called Village at Newtown, and it is a project with about 10 times the budget size and scope of this one, but it was the inspiration for that look.
If you could just email us that name and address, that would be great. Thank you.
Sure. I mean, you could see today how it looks, right? It's
Yeah, we're familiar how it looks today. Thank you. Number 4 is, I'm looking with the parking counts. What was the weather during that day? Do you know?
I don't have that on hand, but I know, as if it was raining or not, I don't believe it was, but I can double check that.
Okay, just be an ask, because sometimes that makes a big difference in the traffic. My other item here is the sidewalk connection. I had a thought, if we can go back to maybe an aerial of Mall Road and Middlesex Turnpike, Caleb, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, no, you don't have control. If you can, if Mark, if you can go to a Google or whatever you have as the top view of Middlesex Turnpike and Mall Road.
Can you see?
A real.
I just put up Google Earth. I don't think it changed yet.
But that's not the intent. I want to kind of give you an idea here that might be an option for a sidewalk. If you don't, maybe you could do it.
Can you, well, hold on.
Just get to Google Earth.
Let me try it again.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it should have gone to Google Earth. Hold on, here we go. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, perfect. So here's a thought. Here's what I got. If you want to scooch in, there you go. So I understand the challenges with the sidewalk over to that grassy area and down. Although we've done this before with the applicant, particularly Building 19 site, where we had the challenges of a very high, very tough grade going down.
Wayside even does a zigzag.
Wayside does a zigzag, so it's possible, but I understand where you come from. But let's think about maybe, is there a sidewalk currently that goes across the crosswalk and then to the right? That's a sidewalk there, right?
Sidewalks on the other.
To near Golf Galaxy. So we come crossing from the mall.
No, there's no sidewalk along our side of Mall Road.
Okay.
It's only on the Burlington, Simon Sears, former
All
Sears
right,
side of.
so maybe that's an option versus going down the other side. If we go that crosswalk, then you make a crosswalk going across and then sneak into your plaza through Golf Galaxy, perhaps.
I think that grade there is even steeper.
Okay.
Bill? Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I'll show you from another angle.
Okay.
That's the challenge, and I think. Let me show you.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think it was that big.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's a good view there. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah,
And if you swing it, you keep on swinging around to the other way, yeah, there you go. It gives you a good view of what we're up against.
Like you have a little bit more, in that corner, you have a little bit more flexibility to zigzag it.
Okay,
It is challenging.
it is.
It's a tough intersection. It's a tough intersection
But I think,
by virtue of, right, by virtue of the traffic and the,
Okay, well, thank you. That's all the questions I had. Yeah, Ms.
Just
LaRue.
Very quickly, when you come next, will you be bringing a landscape plan?
we can, yeah.
good, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we can highlight the landscape plan. I think we have provided something, but we can provide some more detail on it and
Thank
give you an overview. Yeah.
Okay.
Mark Vaughn, if I may. Kevin Luddy is civil engineer with the applicant. I can share my screen to provide 2 copies of the landscape plan.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is a zoomed-in view of the major driveway off of Middlesex Turnpike.
Kevin,
The
could you
big
zoom in a
south.
little bit more on that? It's a little difficult to see in the room. Thank you. Much better. Thank you.
Great. So plan south is Middlesex Turnpike. You make the right-hand turn into the site. And then on the left-hand side is that 2 new restaurants. You can see as part of the overall site design, we've included quite a bit of landscaping as well as a little bit of green space between the sidewalk that we're installing. We're putting the road on a diet, shrinking it down. The idea here is to provide multiple different methods of traffic calming to slow drivers down as they come into the site. We want to make this visually attractive. There's a lot of low-cut shrubs and greenery here, really to try and entice folks into it, as well as provide a good view for folks that may be enjoying their meal out on the patio. And this works in complement with the new sidewalk that's coming in. There is a new stop bar, stop sign, and a new crosswalk that better connects the, I'll call it the Golf Galaxy parking area, to the new sidewalk that can access both restaurants. Everything's working in harmony here to provide a more pedestrian-friendly environment.
Kevin, could you also real quickly show them, if it's possible, the landscaping that we're doing in the compensatory storage area and where we're doing the flood mitigation work? Thanks.
So to orient the board to this plan, the building is to the south. The gray area is the parking lot that's getting raised, and then in orange is the limits of compensatory storage. As part of the compensatory storage, we did have to take down 7 trees. We're replacing them with 8 or 9 trees, as well as a nice mixture of low-growing hedges and sedges to try and restore a more aquatic-friendly environment. And the crux of this is to avoid altering Vine Brook, which has the rare bridle shiner fish that's endangered, as well as to avoid impacting stormwater management facilities shown in green. And we think that this will be a nice complementary view. It'll be an enhancement versus the traditional, I won't call it blank green space, but now there'll be more things within it that can appeal to the eye.
Great, thank you. Yes, Ms. LaRue.
Did you say you're removing 6 trees?
Yes, as part of the effort needed to dig this area out, provide compensatory storage, we would need to remove 6 trees in the orange area, and those will get replaced.
And they'll be replaced, okay,
Yes.
thank you. Is there any landscape plan for the green area along Middlesex Turnpike, which may have a sidewalk on it perhaps at some point, but I don't know?
Well, there's this screen. The screen, you know, is going to be in front of this. Oh, I see. You mean closer to the street?
Yes.
Yes.
Up against our building, there's going to be the screen.
Yes.
With that screens a sidewalk that we're putting there. But the land on Middlesex Turnpike we don't own it, essentially.
It's actually, all that land, interestingly, it's owned by the town. So it was taken years ago. as
So
part
the
of-
area that we talked about there, where there are concerns with the topography, that's
Yeah, that-
actually not on this property.
Correct. That green area, the lawn is, it's owned by the town, but it's maintained.
Along the entirety of our property, we don't really own any of that land, any of that grass area. We're mowing it. We're actually
Upkeeping it, yeah.
we're actually tending it, but it's not ours to.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Members, anything else? Okay, we're good. Member Covino, you good?
Okay,
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
Is this public, is this?
Sorry.
This is
No.
not a public?
No,
Okay,
just
great. Discussion, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to continue these matters to the planning board meeting of June 6th, 2024.
Second?
Chairman Gaffney.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Impemba.
Yes.
Covino.
Currently muted. I sent him a request to unmute,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I feel like he was getting feedback.
Okay, great, thank you, folks.
Yeah, thank you. And I
Okay,
could-
Yeah, thank you.
I-
Appreciate everybody's input.
Yep.
I'd like to thank Liz and Caleb, too. Obviously, there's been a lot of back and forth through the past few months and dealing with different elements of this, but I know they put in a lot of time and effort into it. I sincerely
Right.
appreciate it, so
It's a great benefit for the town. Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Also, real quick, just because I was able to text my analyst and he responded actually that it was a partly cloudy, no rainy day.
All right, okay, all right. Thank you very much for that.
Sounds like December.
Typical December. Thank you. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, staff, we have minutes? No?
no minutes.
Other matters about discussion? Planning board meeting picture of June 6th, if we're all ready to rock?
Yes, please be there.
Can all be here? If not?
There be square.
Yep, okay. This was something that I requested minor engineering change administration approval, so as chair, I get to sign off on minor engineering changes, but I wanted to be, let the board know when I do that. If it's anything more than just sightline changes for, sewer or power lines or anything like that, I'd like to shoot something else to the board to see if they have any concerns of something that may be beyond that, okay? And I just shoot it out and it give you 24 hours to respond or something, just from a transparency standpoint. But if it's just, feet of changes, then I'll just do that sign off if that's good with everybody, okay? Good. Correspondence, no. Reports from town council, no. Subcommittee, anything from subcommittee?
If I may, I am on the subcommittee for the police station building committee.
Yep.
And I think most people know that town meeting gave approval last night, so that's going to be moving forward. I know that they'll be coming to us, but I did want to report back that at our last meeting, and I think people saw this at town meeting last night, that the architect did present a rendering that is very similar to the style of the building that's there now, and I was pleased to see that. So we're going to move forward, and we'll see which way the committee decides to go, but I think that was something that all the committee members were very happy to see. I also wanted to mention that the Burlington Sculpture Park Committee has now received submissions from artists for the 2024 installation. We have narrowed those down to a few that we are going to present to Select Board, hopefully within the next month, and we would expect the 2024 installation probably to occur in July.
Okay, thank you, Ms. LaRue. Anybody else, subcommittee? No? Good. Unfinished business, no. Any new business?
Nope.
Okay, good.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Chairman Gaffney.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
LaRue.
Yes.
Impemba.
Yes.
Covino.
Yes, and I apologize for my technical missteps.
It's fine, we're still trying to figure, we have a new system here, Ernie, in the town, in the main hearing room. They have new TVs, new everything, and so we're still trying to figure it out too. So
We just we learned from IT this
just
afternoon,
learned
so
how
I
all
think
this works today, so.
all things considering,
I think
Yeah, I
all
thought it
things
worked out great.
considered, it
Yes,
looks
thank you.
really great. So, yeah,
I'm sure I'll be getting a lot of questions next week from other town officials who now.
yeah, you're gonna have to train every.
Caleb's going to be tech support.
Yeah, add it to the resume.
Meeting adjourned, thank you.
Thank you, guys.